And so we'll see what Magic's able to do. I mean,
Yep.
longtime rivals, legends of the game, right? Frenemies,
Yeah. The
whatever
El
you want to call
Clasico.
it, right? Yeah, this is a classic matchup. Super pumped. I can't believe we're here. The grand finals are going to be today. We got the whole day ahead of us.
We
It's going to
have.
be good.
And the potential for double revenge story, right? Because the thing I was thinking is if Recon had beat Mister yesterday, that would have been his revenge from Wallow. But then that could have led to Magic's revenge from the Wallow Low qualifiers. That could still potentially happen here, right? Because Recon is waiting in that lower bracket, watching these boys every moves and getting ready to dissect it. Because remember, folks, we've got best of five into best of five and then grand finals afterwards. But boy, run me through what we're seeing here. Draft-wise, everything painted on the screen. Mister seems to have almost everything I'd say he wants. Isis is the one thing I'd say, Magic snatched away from him, but I'm seeing Poseidon, Freya, Odin, Hades. These are all comfortable picks for Mister.
Well, let's be real. I think that the drafts they say what more about what you value yourself more so than what anything is, whether something is strong or not. And Magic here snatching away Zeus early in the draft. Mister, he's known for his Zeus. Like, he might not, if he gets on his Zeus, I honestly don't think he loses. He's got some sort of affinity with that one. The Thor Kronos Gaia picks as well with Magic. I really like those picks. I think they're really, really strong. He's going to be really happy having those Atlanteans there. He knows how to play them, and he also is not going to have to deal with Mister playing them against him. But Mister's got that Freya pick. He's got that Poseidon pick. Those are those gods that I think he thinks are really, really strong, especially with his own play style. Set as well with the map control. I think the interesting things to look at here is that Ra and Loki ban, but
Yeah.
that's where we're at. It's going to be a fun one. Poseidon Zeus on Blue Lagoon, though. Lots to be excited about.
I mean, an entire series to be hyped about, folks. Mister has never come closer than he did yesterday to being struck down for the first time in Retold history. And if there's one player that could do it today, in a lot of people's eyes, it's Magic. So let's get into it. Upper bracket final, Mister versus Magic, to see who will be first into the grand finals and who will have to deal with the Trash Panda.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, left side of the map in the blue color. Spawning in as Poseidon. His name is TheMista. His opponent today, old rivals. They have had so many clashes through the history of Age of Mythology in the red color, playing as Zeus. His name is Magic. The map is Blue Lagoon. Winston, how excited are you right now? Grand Finals, EGC TV, Genesis Retold. Not Grand Finals, Winners Finals. I almost got that right.
Almost, almost. We're not there yet. I see you jumping the gun, but I mean, this
I just
very
want to be
much
there.
so could be. You never know. We have a really interesting set of matchups today. This should be really fun. And we got a Greek mirror to open things up. So Poseidon Zeus. This is going to be fun. Lure on the giraffes. Everything's cozy here on Mista's base. He's got that back gold storehouse on the wood already. That's a pretty comfortable setup, I'd say. This is a decent map with the resources in the back here. We'll see if maybe there's a chance for Centaurs to get on the back side of that and do a little harassment, but it's otherwise going to be pretty tricky.
Yeah, it's an interesting one because, well, we all know Mister, he loves his early pressure. He loves getting his opponent out of their comfort zone. And when he gets these sorts of maps where he gets just that little bit of an edge early on his build orders, it means he gets to go even harder, even faster. I wouldn't be surprised to see him going 315 to the classical age here. Maybe he's going to go for a 330, just delaying it ever so slightly. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very quick advance here for Mr. Magic. On the other hand, there is a world where when you're playing in, this isn't a mirror matchup, but in the Greek mirror or the Egyptian mirror or in the Norse mirror or the Atlantean mirror, that you kind of want to be a little bit on the defensive because your opponent doesn't really have too much to take you out of the comfort zone, so to speak. Magic's going to have Bolt here. Mister's going to send those heroes in and the Centaur. So it's going to be a little bit less power to come through. And we are seeing Athena as the god of choice here for Magic. So he's not going those Centaurs. This is going to be a very, very spicy decision from Magic. We'll see if he can make it work. But yeah, I mean, would you just go for relics now as Mister instead of going for the pressure? What's the ideas?
I'm not really sure exactly what he'll plan. Like you said, you got Bolt on the other side, so that first unit, I mean, I think you just send the Centaur over kind of YOLO, and it's gonna get bolted most cases, unless it's like a really rough situation. You just kind of want to bait that out early, make sure it's used, right? You don't want to have it happen when you're not expecting it. So when I'm playing against these, I like to try and take the tempo, like just force them to use it. And we're gonna see the Bolt over the hero speed relic, another way to use it.
Yeah,
And
that
that's gonna be
relic
very
is
useful here.
that relic is so important here for Magic because he's gonna have to chase around those centaurs, and they're already
Mhm.
5.9 speed. So if he gets the Heracles out and he gets the Bull Minotaurs out later, and Jason even chasing things down, this is gonna be big for him. But what's Mister gonna do as a reaction now to this? Obviously, the centaurs coming straight through. It looks like Magic wants to go for a town center. That's gonna be a difficult one to grab.
Yeah,
But the
especially when
Jason's
the
out,
centaur
the
can
relic's
dance
there.
around here. You have the
Yeah.
move speed, right? But we'll see how quickly. Like it's gonna be a lot of chasing here, and we'll see how long Mista keeps these heroes preoccupied, right? Just trying to get his next item planned.
Yeah,
So
and
what
now with
doing
with with the
best?
Jason pushing forward and kind of distracting the Atalanta and the
Mhm.
Katoskopos and the Scout, Magic's able to move down to the bottom town center here, and he's going to be completely fine. Maybe he's going to lose his Minotaur, but that town center is going to go up, and that's an economic edge right now in a big way for Magic. Mister, on the other hand, I think he must be spamming units right now. He's got to be getting out Hippias, and he's getting his pickaxe, and he's trying to make things work on the pressure side, but Magic's going to be completely fine here.
Yeah, he's been going for these eco upgrades. He does scout the town center, which is really important, right? Because like you were saying, all of his units were preoccupied. There was a chance there that gets missed, and that could have been really, really rough. The Hippias could be an interesting threat. Doesn't look like there's too much exposed resource at the moment. Maybe able to deny the hunt to the south of this TC just a little bit, but it's going to be tricky, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't really go onto that hunt. If your opponent's going for a one town center play
Mhm.
here, like Mister is, he's going to have units out and he's going to be pressuring this. So the only real resource around this town center that's grabbable, if Magic
He's
doesn't
going
herd
for it
those,
though.
he's going for that hunt. He could just herd that hunt back
Yeah, like
underneath his
he could
town
do it with
center.
Hercules here, right? He's going to be
Yeah,
doing that now. Yeah,
yeah. And
but Mist is going
Mister
to
is
be
being
counter
very
hurting.
smart and pushing this back. This is really, really clever from Mister, but Magic is pushing back with that Heracles. Very, very strong unit there to just tank up some damage. But yeah, Magic's going to need some units before he gets this hunt, I think.
Miss is going to be following with his own TC. He's going to that northern one right now. He stopped at 350 gold, right? Yeah, so he's going up for that TC now. It's going to get instantly scouted as well by Magic. So we're going to have relatively similar situations. One difference, I think Mista does have a decent advantage in terms of the eco upgrades because he did get a lot of those before building the TC. But
Yeah,
Magic's
that's
economy as
tiny.
well hasn't been too problematic, and he's got this TC up like, so significantly earlier.
Yeah, every single little villager is worth. I mean, it's worth quite a lot. Pickaxe gives you what 10% bonus
Mm-hmm.
gold gather rate, which if you got 10 villagers on gold, that's like having one extra villager. So if I get my town center up like a minute before my opponent, 2 minutes before my opponent, that pickaxe isn't going to be enough value here. So Mister really needs to get damage done to kind of catch himself back up. And I think it's kind of looking like Magic is struggling to produce these villagers
Yeah, no
efficiently right
food.
now,
No
and
food.
yeah, Mister is not behind at all from this early situation.
Yeah, there's gonna be a moment here where it looks like he's had to use the market again. That's already kind of rough. Things are even with just so few units. I mean, this is the beauty of Mista, right? And his playstyle, like just so few units, he gets so much done. Just max value every time. And you can see the force drops here just to make sure he can train these vills and use these TCs because his TC advantage is essentially gone. All that timing has been lost, and who's up on tempo? It's Mista. There's no Bolt to be afraid of. Ah, man, this is getting spicy.
Yeah, the big difference here though is Magic went Athena, which is very, very different to
Yeah.
having Hermes. Hermes is going to have those really strong cavalry, but going Athena, you get really, really strong infantry. And as we know, infantry does counter cavalry moving forward, but Mister's going to keep putting that pressure on, and Magic's goldmine is exposed here. He might have to invest into watchtowers pretty soon.
Yeah, we talked about that forward gold on at the start of the game, and the next gold to go to is also forward. There's no safe back gold behind these TCs, so it's going to be a very aggressive play if Mystic can sort of build up a presence here. And you're talking about the switch into hoplites, which makes sense, but you're also against centaurs, so Ibicon Centaur can start to do quite well with that area of effect. So it can get spicy here.
Yeah, I mean, Magic is used to being in tough spots, though. He's never going to be giving up on this, but he's got the market. He can sell for a little bit. Obviously not ideal, but if he just gets out a couple of units, he's actually going to be completely fine to defend that gold mine, be mining there. He can also look to start walling off at the bottom where we said that four gold mines there. One wall can be almost enough to just defend that gold mine from those pesky raids that Mister's doing, but he does have to send some units over there to ensure those villages are going to be completely safe.
Yeah.
And it looks like Magic, he's just going to be poking around here, defending. Mister's not able to get into the base for the time being. And basically, Mister is just going to be building on this advantage. Now, Mister is ahead in villages. He has got himself the economic upgrades. But the army here, taking the fight. Big restoration now for Magic. Huge restoration for Magic here is the Centaur. They're going to be just getting chased away. And now Magic is down to God power, but he's back onto his gold mine.
Yeah, that's a really early usage there. Oh my. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Magic really wants here is he wants to be having a villager or two on favor and getting out some Minotaurs just to help out on this situation. But we're still seeing some great micro from both players. Mister is so good at keeping those units alive. He saved 3 or so, very low HP Hippias there. He can also get that beside Lord of Horses tech to get those the regen back in and get those Hippias back up to full HP. So it's really, really important to keep those alive. And behind all of this, Mister is now going Aphrodite.
Yeah, I think he only has Spirited Charge at the moment. I don't believe we saw Lord of Horses coming in, but like you said, Aphrodite on the way. This curse on these like remaining units, like what would be left? Magic needs an answer here. Medium Hoplite doesn't feel like it's going to be it. But still, a little more than a minute out from that Aphrodite.
Yeah, the hoplites, they could decide to just move across the map and just start going for some raids at this point, but honestly, he's got to do something with the 1,300 resources being invested into Aphrodite. You've got a little bit of timing to push out and make something happen. But I don't think Magic's thinking about the next age at this point. He's got farms up. He's invested so many resources into that. We've got a little bit of a fight going on in the center of the map, but Magic just has to retreat away. He just can't take any fights. The Toxotes are out. The Hippias are out. Atalander is out. Mister has got full control right now, and he's going to be applying the pressure and trying to prevent gold from coming in. He'll move to a very quick thing.
Not quite as much. Instant curse on the hoplites. There's only a few remaining, and now the hoplites have to retreat, and this means the opening, the front of the base is going to be completely exposed in just a moment. Heroic still moments away, but what, do you click up to Heroic and just completely avoid making units here? I guess that's going to be the play. Oh, I don't know how I feel about that. The gold is now exposed. No gold income at all unless you can secure the one on the south. But you can see Mista has a few units down there. This just investing in more farms and hoping, I guess, is going to be the answer. 300 gold in the bank, and I guess the market and prey here at this point for Magic.
Well, Magic's got the walls up at the bottom for the time, or trying to get the walls up at the bottom. Those Centaur are just pressuring that gold mine so nicely. There's just no chance here for Magic to set up on that gold mine like he probably would against a lesser player.
Magic no, maybe. Oh, the Ville thought I had a chance, but no chance in France as missed as he's looking dominant in this first game. No access to gold, going up to Heroic, but with what?
Well, I mean, you get Dionysus, right? You get this. You get the Hydra. You get bronze. There's a ceasefire there. So I don't know. Maybe he can make some sort of counter units, get some Peltas out. The elephant is angry here. The elephant's very angry. I mean, after all is said and done, Winston, like the food, no, not the food, the population on economy is still, it's not crazy out of control at the moment. It's just the problem is that Magic's invested into tons of farms, this is partly why he's so set behind, whereas Mister's just been able to eat hunt He's got those pigs there as well in his base, probably still on herdables in his main base. Fortress is going to be coming up, and Mystery is going to be racing towards the Mythic Age very, very quickly here.
Yeah, I mean, or just doing whatever he wants, right? Hypaspis going to be the answer to a lot of the infantry from Magic, but I'm not really sure what Magic's follow-up is. 149 gold. He's finally walled this off, but Avil going to go down for it, and the Hippias are on the wall. Mista's here knocking. What is Magic going to do? He's going to be bringing his units over, but is it going to be enough? It looks like maybe, but that's a lot of talks on the back here.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Peltas in to help him out in the fight, but yeah, there's just so many archers, and those hoplites are going to get absolutely massacred once the wall gets down. He might have to just use bronze here to hold on.
Pizza's here. Hippias on the gold. Maybe no. It doesn't quite come. Oh, sorry. Oh, that was an interesting moment. Going in the bronze. We could see the ceasefire here. But the Roar just going to take the fight up front. The Lion goes down instantly. The Catapult has to retreat, a little preemptive. Surprised we're not seeing a use here of that ceasefire. Could it just hold it? Try and buy as much time.
He can just wait till 30 seconds. This is perfect. This is the 100% the correct way to use ceasefire. What you even against flaming weapons or against any of the other kind of like duration eclipse, if you retreat back first, as it's spawning in, as the units are getting into position, you can basically just take 0 damage from it and then ceasefire the rest of it out, and you're all good to go. And now we see 150 pop versus 180 pop, and it's still an advantage for Mista, but Magic is getting closer to getting into a population kind of equality, and with his upgrades to Athena, he might be able to start winning these fights. So Mr. going 4 town centers is going to be a very challenging thing to overcome here.
And I love the migration up here to the north. He could keep pressuring this gold. It looks like he can even range it with some of these talks, but just kind of taking it slow. He's got the map control now. He's set up for the late game. It's on Magic now to do something with the position, and I think his position is just so weak that he has to make some magic happen. As is his name, but we'll see. Atlanta needs to get on top of that Hydra, otherwise some damage could come through. The massive infantry with the Peltas support gonna be enough there to force Mista back, but just for the moment, I believe.
Well, this is the power of these Sarissa hoplites. They are so strong, but Artemis is coming through, and that means that those Toxotes are going to get even stronger with that Mythic Age Archer upgrade, applying Venom to the arrows to get that divine damage through. And I think that Mystic can basically just bank on spamming a huge Archer ball here, and just it doesn't even matter what Magic does. He's just not going to be able to get the population out to push out of his base. Well, maybe Magic can make something happen with a lightning storm, but he's going to get his base erased by an earthquake. He's got a long road ahead of him to any sort of equality where these hoplites are going to do anything.
Yeah, and Mista just hit that incredible moment when you get to 100 vills and you're not getting raided, right? So all of a sudden that food economy is going to start to feel a lot better for Mista here, right? Like he's just going to start exploding with units in these fights. He can replace, he can do whatever he wants now. The population firmly in his advantage. And we're seeing Fortified TC queued up, but is it going to be a little late maybe? And the cheeky walls trying to come down, but the units are going to get there in time for Mista.
Yeah, this is a bit of a desperation fortress. He wants to try to get some pot shots onto that gold mine of Mista, but looks like Mista's already over here, and the Peltas Toxotes from Magic are pushing Mista back for some reason here. It looks like he doesn't want to take the fights until he gets those upgrades in.
Yeah, he doesn't need to take risks, right? He's in the driver's seat. He has the late game on lock. He knows he's build. Like everything has gone according to plan at this stage of the game. He just needs to make sure he doesn't take such a bad fight that the tides turn. And like you said, that one of the risks there is potentially a lightning storm on his group troops. So he has to be careful. He doesn't know. Maybe he kind of intuitively knows at this point that Magic just simply can't afford Mythic. But that's like kind of the only risk that you can see for him at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and Magic is trying to make something happen with some hoplites as the earthquake is dropped down in the center of that town center. The town center is down. He doesn't have any upgrades. Can't keep everything alive. Going to be losing a whole bunch of buildings here as well. But, I mean, houses have to get rebuilt. He doesn't have enough wood in the bank. He doesn't even have any granaries around here for those farmers, so they're going to be very, very idle. But he does manage to take down a town center with his hoplites. It's such a magic thing to do. But in killing off a Poseidon town center, that's going to leave a whole bunch of militia here. And the big problem right now for Magic, it's not how much he can get done with these hoplites. It's where is the gold that he can get on the map. He's got no gold, and he's going to be tapping out. Mr. takes game number 1.
Yeah, and that was a dominant game, right? That was a really dominant performance. We saw Magic maybe leaving himself a little too exposed with that map, right? That forward gold was just such an aggressive location, and the temple was kind of built to the south of it, so the Centaur could really chase the Vills, use the special, then chase the Vills as they went under the TC. And you saw even with the hero speed relic, Mista kept those 2 Centaurs alive like the whole game, and they were so useful there. They denied the gold on the south. They kept denying the gold on the north, time and time again, keeping that exposed, keeping the Vill count relatively even though there was a second TC much earlier for Magic. So I think Mista just demonstrating extreme control at all stages of the game there, making something out of nothing in a lot of cases, and doing a really good job that game. And it's hard to say what Magic really did wrong. It felt like he just kept having to deal with what was up next, and yeah, it's gonna be tricky to like mentally come back from that. I think because it's like, what did you do like wrong, realistically, right? Like
There was some very small building placement issues early, like the gold mine in the main base. He getting that town center up for free is really big in the matchup, but not pushing those hunts that next to that town center, underneath the town center, that would have basically given Magic enough of a lead that all of the pressure that Mista was able to do probably would have been nullified. So they're those 2 tiny mistakes, and they're tiny. They're like this big.
yeah, right.
That
Why am I
gives
so
that
zoomed
Mr.
in?
That's what matters. That's what matters. But
Uh,
Magic's going to need a reset here mentally, because I mean, when you get under that pressure of the Mr., you can kind of just be like, it's just impossible. He's just too good. So he's got to just be like, no, that game out the window. It's a new game. It's a different matchup. It's on Tundra. Hades, Isis now. There's going to be some fun things coming in this one, Winston. What do you think is the keys to success in this matchup?
Well, ISIS has options, I feel like, right? And that's
Yep.
kind of what's interesting, right? On Tundra, you could go for some mobility, right? You can make
Yep.
either myth unit in classical just to try and play the map. And that can kind of be a problem. Early game, I mean, you are Hades, right? So it's not like it's super scary, but I don't know. You could see some denial of external resources. We'll see if Mist is going for a second TC early. I kind of expect one maybe, but maybe not. Who knows? We'll see what the players are thinking here.
Yeah, I mean, in my experience thus far, it's like, if Isis can kind of just do what she wants, life gets pretty challenging for Hades. So you've got to think about dealing with, like you say, Sphinx, maybe Anubites, probably less so the Anubites because of the Achilles, but
Yeah,
Sphinx with Eclipse plus Scorpion Man, Ancestors. You could also think about going through the Sobek Osiris path for Camel Riders if you really want, because Hades doesn't have that Thracian Horses upgrade from Dionysus or Spirited Charge from Hermes. So his cavalry are quite weak. You can't chase them around very easily with the Prodromi. So there's lots of like angles to go with Isis. There's also Thoth with that Valley of the Kings. That all being said, Hades is that late game king. So if Mista wants to play into his defensive bag of tricks, which you don't get to see all too often, he might be able to just say, throw whatever you want at me. I'm going to defend it, and then I'll win the game later.
yeah,
There's a big build order kind of idea with Hades, which is around Valley of the Kings, but there is like sort of a meta game idea where instead of going for a delayed advance time with Hades, maybe you play it more similar to that Poseidon style and rush out an Achilles and an Ajax to get over in pressure, and then get that Bolts of Erebus tech a little bit later. So, I mean, there's lots of different ways to take this one from the Mista. He's going to be thinking about it. He already knows all the matchups really, really well. Magic as well. So they've both played this one quite a bit. It's just, where are they going to find the edges to find the victory?
Yeah,
That's the big
and I like
question.
what you said there. It's like we could see either playstyle from Mista, but I feel like Mista is neither offensive nor defensive. He just like plays. I don't know how to
Yeah.
describe that. When you watch him play, you know it's the case, right? It doesn't matter his god. It doesn't matter the matchup. It's like he'll do whatever he needs to win, and we'll see if that comes into play. I would like to see maybe a longer game here against these two, right? Because it's gonna be so dynamic and awesome, right? The last game was a little short for my taste, so I'd like to see Magic able to hold it
We,
on just a little longer. But we'll see.
yeah, it's
ISIS, a lot could happen in this game, right? We got Ancestors
yeah.
Eclipse potentially on the table, and that could really open the doors up for a lot of damage on the Hades if you're not playing perfectly on the side of Mista.
It's funny you say like the shorter game versus the longer game, and I mean throughout the history for Magic, he's a deathmatch expert. He is
Yeah.
a late game king. He is one of the players that really does enjoy just sitting back and just letting stuff come at him, and then he'll beat you with his late game multitasking and his knowledge of
Yeah.
well, just his basic general understanding of decision making in Age of Mythology. So maybe there's a world where even if Hades is the late game king in this matchup, you're playing against Magic, so maybe Mister doesn't want to play into that because even though he's got the edge, Magic is known for being so good in that late game. It's actually a really, really challenging one. I'd be interested to ask Mister about that, depending on what happens in these games, how much that comes into his brain, or if he's just kind of more playing it like chess, where you're just kind of play the position rather than play the player sort of ideas.
Do
Could be
you
interesting.
do, do you ever go a new bites in this matchup? Because I've been
I
playing new bites
haven't.
more and more, and I just love
Yeah.
playing new bites now. Just like
I,
from a
I
personal standpoint.
the thing is, right? If you can get 3 monuments, which is I say if you can get 3 monuments,
Yeah.
if you put 3 monuments down, you can make a boatload of Anubites.
Mhm.
And so long as you can keep the Greek player in the classical age, 2 heroes is not going to be enough in the big fight to deal with those Anubites. So
Mhm.
there is an angle to go Anubis here, and build Anubites, but there's a lot of counterplay available to the
The Hades.
Hades that
Yeah.
can if they can get out that Chiron, if they get to that heroic age, if they get out a whole bunch of Minotaur, a whole bunch of Nemean Lions, Manticore, even like there's counterplay there. So it's not like big
Yeah.
thing, but it looks like we're going to be getting into game 2
Uh-huh.
momentarily. Let's see it. Let's make it happen. And spawning in the right side of the map, the blue color, he is on his Greek god. He is from Greece, and his name is TheMista. His opponent, left side of the map, game number 2, from Canada. He's playing as Egypt, though. As ISIS, it is Magic. Tundra of the map, Winston, my co-caster. We've been talking a lot
Y'all.
about this matchup already, but
Oh yeah.
do we see anything right now on the map that might indicate one thing, one way or the other, what might be happening or what these players might go for?
Yeah, I mean, Mystic going for the early vault here. So maybe that generally leads to a slightly later age up, but really, really safe and really secure because you could almost leave gold at different moments and not feel as bad about it, right? It's so powerful. We'll see. Temple coming down already to get that favor coming in, right? So this is kind of how you play that build order. So gonna be rushing vaults, and we'll see what happens on the side of Magic. Yeah, and we're gonna have the other trickle tech coming in, as you'd expect. Flood of the Nile, of course. I love
Yeah,
Flood of the
there's
Nile. I love
the,
I love
the,
rushing that tech every game I play.
these texts are just so good,
They're
right?
so fun.
It's just like you just go, hey guys, do you want like extra economy in the early game? Yeah, okay, well, we'll just get these techs and then you can go and enjoy it. Mister is going to be getting that tech out so insanely fast. He's only got 2 villages on favor, so it's not like the most fast Vault of Erebus you can ever get, but he's going to be able to behind this get himself a really, really nice classical age as well. So he can actually get at 345 here if he wants to, which is absolutely insane to think about. Whereas Magic going for fast Flood of the Nile here, he's probably going to be hitting maybe like a 430 or 445 classical age, so much, much later, which will give Mister a bit of time here to either get a town center up for free or go for early pressure again.
Yeah, yeah, and even getting pickaxe, right? That build is so fun, but it's it does slow you down quite a lot, like you're mentioning for Magic. But we'll see what the plan is. A bit of a slower game, at least at the start of Classical, like you were saying. But we'll see if that kind of evolves into anything interesting here. As the maps, I mean, not too bad here. I mean, Magic's map feels really, really safe with Isis. You can kind of wall off to the side there, to the left of that gold mine, and I like this temple placement for that purpose, right? Gonna really secure that gold mine nicely. And things are going to be really cozy there. And the second gold is pretty far away. Tundra's a very open map, so going to have a plan to get out there. As Isis, of course, you always have to worry about that second gold mine, and the second gold mines are pretty far forward. So going to have some form of map control this game if you're in Magic's position.
Yeah, I think that when you're playing this sort of situation as ISIS and you know all the gold mines are forward, you know your town centers aren't very good. He's obviously scouting around with his priest and kind of making these decisions as he's going. But
Yeah.
when you know all this stuff, you just say, well, let's just go for a fast heroic age, and then we can just move forward and place a Migdol stronghold down the gold mine to secure that before any sort of teching Greek player can sort of get going and deny this. As Relics are going to get picked up. Athena, Bast. I mean, I want to say there's no surprises here, but there's no surprises here. Athena's so good here. Bast is going to set up that Sphinx Eclipse, Ancestors Eclipse option. You can also go for, again, we can still see Sobek saving Eclipse for Osiris Mummies as well as a completely different option. But the big question is, and I think it's answered by the resource count, are we going to be seeing a second town center straight away from Mista? And are we going to be seeing a second town center straight away from Magic?
Yeah, I think that's answered by the resource count and the macros, right?
Yeah.
They're both going for that TC, so looks like is the question I have for Magic, is he going to the one on the left or the one way down south? Because I would almost prefer the one further south, as crazy as that sounds, just to try and secure golds for later. But
100% in agreement. That makes so much more sense. Just sure, it's like a longer walk time, but yeah, it's a much better idea. Mista here, he's trying to be a little bit sneaky to grab his town center. Minotaur kills the obelisk off, and he walks around on the edge there to make sure he's out of line of sight. But let's be completely honest right now. Magic knows Mista's grabbing a town center. There's no if and or buts about it. You can tell at this level what your opponent's doing economic wise, just based on how many military units they've got, or what else is happening in the game. Both players second town center. We've got a boomy game.
Yeah, we're gonna go 2TC heroics here. It looks like. I mean, maybe we'll see some units from Mista in classical, but with nothing on the board right now from Isis, I don't really see him investing in too much here, right?
Yeah, and it's an interesting question, right? Do you go for some Hippias right now, or Hoplite Toxodia, or anything while you go for when you go for this second town center? The idea being, well, maybe I can pressure that second gold mine and stay in the classical age. Or do you say, well, I know I'm not going to be able to get anything done with those early units. And maybe I rush straight to the heroic age so that I can get access to those sort of premium Peltas, Prodromi, Hippias, etc. Those sort of units.
We could see a really fast age appear from Magic, because he's got Sacred Cats on that hunt with the empowerment. It's such an insanely fast food source at that point. He's actually gonna have way too much food. Is he building a market maybe for this age up to like macro better, or was that no? He built a blacksmith, so the macro is gonna be a little awkward. He just transferred a lot of those over to gold, so it will work out in the end. But yeah, this is insane eco.
This is I mean, he's got such a great map. That second town center with the food on top of it. That just means, well, his town center is pumping villagers out onto food. He's now goes over to wood. He's going to be able to get himself like an 8-minute heroic age, which is really, really quick.
That's really fast with the 2TC, right? But we'll see what the follow-up is there, right? Do we just instantly cast Ancestors Eclipse? I'm not quite sure. You do have the Sentinel counterplay to that. You have Achilles is already on the field, so it can be a bit tricky. And you were right.
There it is. I mean, the thing with the Ancestors Eclipse on the main base is you really want to threaten it. Whether or not you click it or not doesn't matter. The idea is you want the Hades player to have his heroes in his main base. If
Mm-hmm.
you see that Achilles kind of elsewhere, you can just be like, all right, let's go for the Ancestors Eclipse. Like right now, he's harassing the Sphinx here, but maybe Magic's got some plans to get a unit out or something. So the Sphinx is going to be getting chased down here. It's some really, really nice control from Mr.
Dead.
Can he keep it alive? Looks like he
No
cannot.
way.
That's a dead Sphinx.
No shot. Achilles
That's
runs that down 10 times out of 10, right? And we're actually gonna have to train another Sphinx just so you can cast it, just so you can threaten it. I mean, it's the truth, right? You need a way to get vision to cast this God Power combo.
It's not just going to be for the Ancestors Eclipse on the economy. It's also
Yeah.
for potentially using it in an army as well. Because he can also, we're talking about this on the economy. It's equally good to Ancestors Eclipse to wipe out an army and go for a gold staff.
Yeah, but this is the question about the TC, right? Like Achilles alone is right now actually denying gold positions, and we're gonna have to see a forward Migdol coming in. But okay, Achilles a little out of position.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna spot this. I mean, there's nothing really to follow it up, but
It's
could have been interesting here.
It's sort of like he's respecting the Ancestors
potential
Eclipse.
here.
We do see a red dot moving across the map right now. Aphrodite on the way, as the Sphinx will be able to spot a villager to take out, and this might bring that Achilles back over there. And
Should Ajax is
Magic
down though.
he's going to see some villagers, but I don't think he's going to want to click anything
Wait, Ajax
on this
moved.
spot.
He was here before, and it's just Eclipse on these hunters. But there's a wall. Wait, hold up.
This actually isn't all that bad, as long as Magic can
So
send the minions into the main base afterwards.
dodge.
Does get a huge amount of damage.
Ability. Resto on the Vills just to keep them alive. Some extra lions come in. Ajax and Achilles are here now. We're gonna see that Sphinx try and get out. Gonna be running pretty fast here, pretty far and wide. Gonna get to another group of Vills. Just try and use it here. Those Vills don't have restoration anymore, so they could be taken down. And one will go down, but that's actually a lot of fireworks, but not a lot of damage here so far from this use of Ancestors Eclipse. I mean, a bit of idle time, and the Bills are going to have to run now. Potentially some damage coming in here. Now the Bills goes down.
Well, there's a lot of idle time, like you're saying,
of idle time.
but what is going on behind this is the big question. You've got a whole bunch of chariot archers coming out. You got the economic upgrades coming through. Mr. He is on the back foot now. That Scorpion member's also in there trying to get a little bit of damage done. But now both the God Powers are gone. Resto also gone is kind of a big deal. What
He
is
ejected the relic.
to do with these relics?
I think he was trying to. I think he put the Nemean into the temple
I
so
see.
that it didn't accidentally come out and get killed. And there's curse on these units, so only 5 pigs, but still going to be useful to slow down that chariot mass, right? With only 1 Migdol, that mass is really slow.
Yeah,
So it's
and
important to have it. And we're going to... Whoa, that's a crazy timing. Potentially get punished, but not going to at this moment. Going to have to respect the Scorpion, man. The big red lobster. Here he comes. He's waddling. He's coming forward.
Big red lobster is.
He's like, look at me. I love that. That animation.
You have to be so careful with it, though. As soon as the Achilles turns around, he's going to get absolutely dominated. But, you know, no lobster dinner for Mr. on this day.
Yeah. Chiron's on the field already, and some Peltas as well to deal with the chariots, but that does leave some openings. I mean, chariots right now have kind of swung back into the meta quite a lot for Egyptian, doing so much damage.
Until the Peltas start getting the upgrades, their range is not quite there. So these chariot archers at 20 range, both of them are at 20 range. They can kind of space with having a couple of meat shields in front and using that speed, while also being able to take out the infantry units nicely. But
Beauties with the free ballistics means that the chariots can't really dance this, right? If the Peltas
Yeah, that's
shot
true.
comes out, it's really, really hard to make that movement work. And we're already seeing some siege as well. So Magic going for a very classic approach here.
yeah, I'm surprised. It
Egypt of
kind of
old,
looked like
right?
he was. It kind of looked like he was taking up to the Mythic Age there.
Yeah.
But now he just spent all the resources, and a third town center gets dropped. Barracks get dropped. What is he wanting to build with these? There's no I guess you can make Spearmen. This makes this. I mean, this is the classic unit composition
Yeah.
from way back when for
But the food.
for Egyptian for so long. But this is more just prep for dealing with cavalry coming in. But Magic is just going to be having to deal with Hoplite Peltast for a very long time here. Chariot Archer's getting a little bit of pot shots here. That's going to be nice for him, but it does take. He dodges the ballistics there. If you're out of range, you're out of range. They can't hit them. Those javelins, they fly. But a little bit of max range shenanigans. It's not going to be enough. The same thing happens in the reverse though as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with ballistics coming in for Magic, things should kind of open up. We got the Spearman upgrades coming in and some camels getting mixed in as well to add to the front line. But the Chariot Mass is there. Can keep looking for poke damage. Magic taking a third TC as well. So that's, I mean, looking really solid now. Getting the map control, getting the center of everything. He's got his Hun. He's secured the golds to the north as well to a degree. Would love to see maybe some walls, kind of keeping that whole north side safe from raids later. Because if Mista ever does break out of this choke, it's looking pretty exposed on the side of Magic later on in the game. That's just kind of a late game planning. You can see the Peltas now upgraded to heavy. Are going to be able to contend with those chariots, but here comes the siege. 2 Red Lobster Scorpion Men leading the charge.
And those Peltas getting kind of baited away from the actual main army might leave the rest of that army exposed. Mista currently a little bit behind on population will allow Magic to get a big fight over there as the Peltas. They zoned quite away for the moment, but he's going to be losing army in the main base. Can he rejoin and then get a little bit of a classic Mr. Pincer maneuver happening here? But very smart play there from Magic to bring those Camel Riders to chase up onto the Peltast, get a little bit of revenge fight. The Camel's a little bit confused about what they want to do there, but he does get a kill. He gets one.
He just saw the damage. The range of those Peltas. Peltas so good in this situation. Good against almost everything to a degree. I mean, not everything, but they feel pretty solid as a ranged unit here against this Migdal composition. We're not going to be seeing that transition to Padromos just yet, or any Cav for quite a while.
There's no attempt to go for cavalry here in the slightest for Mista. We've got some Axemen actually coming out in order to try and tank those hoplites. It does make it really, really difficult for the Greek player to micro this because the Peltas, you have to kind of split them up into several different groups in order to get the no overkill sort of action happening. And Magic is just containing beautifully here.
Yeah.
Mista, he's almost at full pop, but he's behind, well, he's at full pop now, but he's behind 30 pop just on the fact that Magic is 3 town centers and his ISIS. So, and there's Thoth coming through. This is looking to be a very, very big timing. There is going to be a restoration available though.
Yeah, this is Magic in his element. I mean, he's on Egyptian here. The Scorpion Men leading the charge. The Chariot Archers in the back dealing so much damage. The Migdal, it is empowered by that Pharaoh, so it's not only dealing a ton of damage, but also turning units even faster. The Hoplite Mass on the front going down. The Peltas still trying to deal their damage, but restoration doesn't seem like it was going to be enough in the retreat from the Peltas. They have to run. The Hoplites on the north are kind of out of position. The Camels are coming down on the south side. What can be done? His whole front is collapsing. Thoth a third of the way through, and we're not even looking at thinking about Mythic Age on the side of Mista. His front line has collapsed, trying to get things going. Now an empowered monument on the backside, adding some healing onto everything, in the Chariot Mass somehow seems bigger than before the fight for Magic. Everything has gone his way in this game so far.
Well, this is just population advantage on population advantage with DPS advantage. Magic's still got to be careful. Those Peltas still packing a punch onto those Chariot Archers, but the DPS is there to take these Peltas out, and the overkill that the Peltas are doing just means that the Chariot Archers are basically able to trade somewhat 1-for-1 while also being able to deal with those hoplites. But Magic just needs to wait now. He can go and grab that 4th town center, have a gigantic advantage, just click Meteor into the main base. Mista's in a very, very difficult position right now.
Yeah, and look at Magic's economy. He's behind this fight. He's able to do everything he wanted. He put 70 mils on gold before recasting Prosperity. He is min-maxing right now. This guy is just chilling. He is mad vibing, well winning that fight on the front. Now, his main force did go down here, and now this is going to have to try and secure this left side. Well, the fight comes to a lull. But the army, is it going to be there? The meteor comes down kind of in the middle of nowhere, but right on top of the army. We'll see if it's able to hunt down the units. Looks like the follow-up shots will come through. The pelt is getting melted on the side, but half the army from Mr. will stay alive, and that half will keep dealing damage. Only a couple production buildings did go down here, and now the peltists have free reign over the massive chariot archers, but the camels coming from the back, a couple axemen leading the charge. What can be done here if you're Mista? Retreat back to the
now
fort,
you're gonna
I guess, right?
the big challenge right now for Mr. is the fact that champion units will be coming through surely very shortly, and there's also a Phoenix going to be coming in to absolutely melt those Hellcats here.
Chiron, split the unit. Oh, unit's just going down, but you can see Chiron forcing down that Phoenix as well, so it will go down pretty quickly, but not before a decent amount of damage and forcing Mista just like mix everything up here. Wow, this game has really gotten out of hand for Mista as Magic takes that fourth TC just right from under his nose.
And Chiron almost gets sniped down there from the chariot archers as well. That Phoenix can come back up, and restoration coming through from Mista. There's just not enough units here for these restorations to really be worth it. I mean, you can't really build myth units because the priests are out already as well. Town center going up for Magic, plus the trade route already being started, means this 280 population, which Magic has now unlocked, is going to be even more useful because his economy is going to be able to pay for it. And now we see a whole bunch of mercenary cavalry coming in to sort of tank on the front, as well as a forward Migdol to try and deny this gold mine. Can Mr. hold here is the big question. He's got a sizable army though. This is working in his favor for the time being, but will Magic be able to get himself a whole bunch of units or not? This is where Mr. can bring this game back if he can make the right decisions here. And maybe Magic can make a bit of a misplay. We'll see if he can continue and make it work.
He's mostly ranged, still not really thinking about that Mythic Age, so stuck in Heroic, so the units aren't really going to deal a ton of damage to this Migdol unless he can get that first, Trebuchet out, or the Metropolis out. Oh man, the first Metropolis out, and here it is, the Migdol gonna go down. Oh my. Things are heating up here. Mista somehow holding against all odds.
Yeah, there's one upgrade which we haven't yet seen. I think we haven't seen. Maybe I missed it, but we haven't yet seen that Valley of the Kings upgrade coming through, which generally is the first thing you rush when you go Thoth, and you just stick a Pharaoh onto a Migdol, and you just start spewing out units. There it comes in now, and this is going to mean that Magic is going to be able to get a huge economic advantage going. He's throwing mercenary cavalry in here in an attempt to take out the siege weapon of the Mista, but Mista's now going to be targeting down that town center. Whether or not he actually is going to be able to get it on it is a big question. Hoplites charging in now. Is killing this going to be enough, though, is the big question.
I mean, the problem is behind this is a full trade. Like, can we check the trade count or Magic? I think he's almost like capped on traders. Like, close to? He's got a lot of trade. That's all we're going to say. It's a lot of units. He's got a lot of trade in the back, and he's still pushing through on the main here. Mista. Upgrades just rolling in. Magic can kind of sit back and maybe think about playing for the long game here. Just try and take it slow, take it steady. You can see he's building up his defenses, trying to get entrenched in the right positions where Mista's army isn't for the time being. Oh man.
Oh, now we have the catapult rolling forward. Vintage towers coming through as well. I don't think he's got guard tower. There's guard tower queued up. But once that comes through, those towers actually do start packing a punch. And he's just going to be going for the main base. But this will be giving Mista the opportunity to grab that left side of the map, get those gold mines and everything else that comes in there. But the population differential is absolutely out of this world. Crazy for Magic at the moment. And Mista has to take this fight.
Yeah, he has to take the fight, and now he's actually up against not just a meteor and a bunch of heroic units. Now all these units are champions. Like, everything's getting the upgrades it needs. Magic is going to be full tech in just a few minutes if this continues, and the Pelt is trying to get those shots on the ranged units. The catapult taking down the TC. It's getting dangerously low. The reinforcements from the left finally here to get in the front line, and Mista is able to push back Magic. The catapult's going to be exposed. The Vil's being pulled to batter down the units here. It looks like Magic. Maybe did he overextend just a little bit too much? I'm not quite sure.
And we're now seeing that Mr. has moved away from those Peltash, which is going to mean that those Chariot Archers should start doing even better. We've got that Pharaoh is empowering Migdol on the front here to get even more units out. He might even be able to start moving into Elephants soon, which is, I mean, he has to tech into them pretty heavily to make it work.
There's not a lot of units on the field. What's going on for Magic? He's doing 5 upgrades, but he has no units, just now training up some Axemen, but into this ranged mass right now. Is that going to be enough? Magic has 1 food in the bank, and he is not popped right now. He's doing a lot of techs, maybe a little zealous on this aim for late game situation. Now gearing up some slingers because he realized he has no resources. And suddenly, you look at the economy and the income for Mista, things are starting to swing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the transition away. He's already got champion chariots here. He must not have the Migdols up. He's got so much gold in the bank, though.
Things too, right? Like,
there's no excuse to be making anything but these premium units here. And now Mr. has managed to click up to the Mythic Age as he is battling back in a big way. Artemis is going to be coming through. The monuments aren't already prepared, and now Mr. can start lashing out onto the map and trying to make things work. More catapults coming through for Magic. He's got the 250 pop versus 235 pop. He still has that ISIS advantage. But now the road has become very, very difficult for both players here as we're going to be entering a bit of a late game situation here, Winston.
Yeah, indeed. And Hades and ISIS 2 late game powers as well. And you can see now Magic able to solve that issue that he might have had with units. He's got everything in queue. He's back up to pop, feeling comfortable again. He added that dock in so he can add some pressure onto the units here, but a lot of value there. I mean, is the issue that most of the pop is in trade right now or what? Because it's going to be a long-term play for sure, especially if Magic or Mista doesn't get his trade up and running. His gold is running a little low. There's only that gold on the left, it seems. Oh man, things are heating up.
We've got the Mercenary coming through, and this is going to be pushing that population edge even further. The Mercenary Cavalry do actually have bonus against archers as they charge forward. You can't really use them offensively because they're going to be losing a ton of HP as they move in there, but this Artemis is going to hit, and it's going to be scary. I mean, where do you use the Earthquake is the big question.
Yeah, you also get instant burning pitch, right? Like, so the units here are just going to get really, really strong in just a moment here. Everything's going to start to feel a lot better if you're Mista in just a moment, and another restoration before they look like desperation restoration, but now it's like temptation. He just wants to win, right? He's got everything in the bag. The flaming arrows, they are in. The earthquake on the catapults and the forward base here is a little awkward, but it does manage to clip quite a lot of units. Mostly just going for the catapults, it looked like.
Well, here's the thing though, this is the big problem. This is the big problem that Mr. has to unlock. He's now only just dropped the market. He's on his last gold mine. So he's going to be out of gold really, really shortly. And even more so, being on his last gold mine, he's only going to be able to fit like 15, 20 villagers on it, which to support 225 population, that's not enough. It's going to be a very, very difficult thing for him to try and get himself that gold economy going here. And while this is all going on, I'm sure Magic is going to start thinking about setting up on that third town center as well to try and start sieging that down with catapults and all the other good stuff that he's so good at, while also thinking about, well, now I can attack the trade route as the spammage war in the middle seems like it's been going on for eternity here. But even now, Mr. Champion upgrades is in. He's got the quality units that he needs, but he's just so far behind on population, and Magic is still just focusing down houses in the main base, which is hurting Mr. even more.
Yeah, the one thing I would say though is, as I'm watching these fights, I just get the feeling that it's just taking just a way better trade, I think. Like the unit comp here for Magic, something feels a little off. Like, feels like he's missing an element that might like put this together. Maybe it's elephant, but also with only 26 on food, like maybe he can't really afford the units he wants to make here. I'm just not sure as the towers get pulled in again. So once again trying to entrench on the sword position and just keep the base of Magic, of Mista really, really tight and contested.
Well, Magic just knows he's just had it's a war of attrition right now. You can say all you want about the units not trading very well, but Magic's got infinite economy because he's got himself the trade rate. He could also drop a prosperity right now if he runs out of gold to increase his gold gather rate on those trade caravans. You don't see it very often, but it's a very, very, very good late game play to go for. Alternatively, he could just make some Phoenix here. That would be a great help to deal with the Archer Ball that's going on. That Arab effect damage is always really, really strong.
And he's got that kind of building setup now, and there's no Earthquake now to deal with all of this, so the catapults are once again out on the field, dealing damage. The temple that Mista has rebuilt for the 4th time has gone down again, and now he's going to need to build it, and he wants those myth units to keep forcing those priests out, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be enough for Mista to push forward. He's going to have to sack some bills to deal with the catapult. It's going to work. At least 2 of those are down.
I do really like the way that Mr. has opted now to go back into Peltas. If for anything other than the fact that they only cost him 20 gold, this is going to be a real big help for him to be staying alive, trying to break through these towers here. There's just so much DPS coming from Magic, but it just does not seem to be enough for the time being here.
Gold ran out. The question is, how does Magic feel about this? Does he know about the trade situation? Does he know how far ahead his trade is? He must have an intuitive sense and understanding there, but as he throws away more and more siege units, you start to wonder, like, as each trader gets added, the clock just keeps ticking down, I feel like. Mister's just playing better, even though he's so behind, right?
Well, I don't know if I think they're
both
both playing bloody insane in all honesty.
They're both playing great, yeah.
Magic needs some sort of way to deal with this Archer Ball is the challenge, right? And like you say, is getting those farms up and getting that economy out in order to afford the elephants to push through these Peltats now. Because this is kind of the only unit that Mr. can make for a while. He's only making donkey caravans from 2 markets. That's 50, that's like 25 times 15 or whatever the time is to get him up to 50 caravans to kind of be able to support any sort of gold income. It takes a very long time. Plus, he's also kind of
38 on gold. He found a gold mine in the middle of the map.
Gold mine. That's huge.
That's huge. The fact that he just found this gold mine just sitting here under the Migdal, he's gonna go, and he's got the units in front to fight it. The population's neck and neck. I don't know. I don't know, boy. I don't
know either. I don't.
Magic's unit composition, even still. I just don't know what he needs to make. Like, I don't know what the answer is, but I'm watching the fight, and this ain't it. This ain't it.
Well, the camel riders do tank really, really nicely. Every single time you see those Peltas pushing forward, you almost have to just retreat back with your chariots. But it's looking like there's a decent trade, but both players just losing so much population. They're not able to stay at that full pop, and now Mister's got to pull back. And honestly, now with this gold mine over here, Magic needs to put pressure onto it. He's got to take villagers out.
Yeah, if he's able to push Mista off this gold, it might all sort of come together here, but if this gold stays in Mista's possession for very long, I mean, the camels are doing so much damage there. And the camels on the front line, they seem to be the answer.
Champion camel riders, you're going to be able to pick off those villagers, and now basically if you're Mista, you have to start making some hoplites in a big way here, and he is doing that, but this costs a lot more gold.
Yeah, Mista's economy is starting to struggle just a bit. You can see he's just completely tapped on resources here. Meanwhile, look at the bank of Magic. It's starting to feel more and more comfortable. Only 2 monuments. You could maybe think about adding some more monuments, right? Try and think about some myth units, maybe a recast of Meteor in the distant future. Who knows, right?
Yep. Yeah. Or just like some more Migdals. I think he's only got 2 Migdals up. I could be wrong about that. I think he's only got 2 Migdals. So he's just not able to spam out the units that he absolutely needs here. And now we're starting to see Magic. He's going for the raids. He knows the trade routes up. He knows that's a weakness over here. But he's a nice little Hydra, or Skylar, excuse me, already over there to get a little bit of defense. And Magic's already ready for this sort of maneuver.
Yeah, he's just so prepared. He's so aware right now. And yeah, like Axemen and Chariots, once again, where are the camels? Like, where they were doing so well, and now they're gone again. And it just seems like everything... Every time I get excited about Magic's position and what he's able to put together, I just see Mista somehow winning a fight, but here's the turnaround once again. Magic's starting to look good. I don't know. It's just been a
He's
slow
just
and
like,
brutal
how do
push forward.
How do you say that one player is ahead or behind? Because the thing is, right, the closer that Mr. gets to this town center, the better the mercenary are going to be getting to be able to defend here. Plus, I still want to see a prosperity cast. I mean, I don't know what you're saving this 176 favor for. Drop prosperity, put your pharaoh onto the market, get yourself a huge gold income from it.
Places to be, right? Pharaoh's a busy guy. Pharaoh has to be on the Valley of Kings, right? He's on the Migdol, kind of in the middle of the map.
That's also a pretty good place to be as well, to be completely honest. Yeah. We've also got a beautiful side build coming through while this is all going on. The wall's going up in that right corner of the map there. Is this spotted by TheMista or not? It looks like it is spotted. One villager just going to be sitting idle. Great little granary. And he is more than fine over there.
I mean, I'm looking at the population. I'm looking at everything I'm seeing. I'm looking at Mista finally, for the first time in this game, getting kind of halfway across the map with anything other than Achilles. Right? I think Achilles is the only one who scouted this 50% of the map. Like, and I don't know. Like, it just doesn't look like Magic's able to put it together. We're starting to see some elephant techs come in, so maybe that's the plan.
He wants to move away from this, but now I don't know where his economy's gone. His economy, I mean, he's lost a bunch of villagers. He's got his trade routes still kicking, but he's just got no resources in the bank.
He might have deleted because he's out of gold on his half of the map. Right? He might have just deleted gold.
And he still hasn't clicked that prosperity button.
Yeah, it's definitely an option. I mean, maybe he's not feeling like he's lacking gold right now. But yeah, with only 35 on food, and somehow, like, I still don't fully get it, but Mista is still pushing very comfortably, even winning these little side wars. He's made his way up all the way on that left side there, threatening to get closer and closer to that TC on the left. Meanwhile, the TC on the right, the main focus of this attack. It just looks like the elephants are going to have to be the thing. Hoplite's going to be needing to come out. A recast of Sentinels. Is that on the fortress way to the left? Yeah, to deal with those elephants. Yeah. Some spicy gameplay from that, from Mista, as he just looks super solid in this moment. Up 25 population. He's been holding this position for a while. Now he's got the siege out restoration as well. So the recast finally coming in. That's the 4th restoration of this game. And I just don't see how Magic turns this around.
Well, Mista's got one difficult thing to deal with right now. He's going to be maybe taking this town center around, but they've got a couple of elephants wandering down to the bottom town center. He might be able to get something happening down there, but this is now starting to look very, very good for Mista moving forward in this game.
And the TC desperately getting repaired. It's going to have to stay up if you want to keep your pop lead. But, I mean, with the population lead, he wasn't ending the game. What happens when this goes down? I mean, like you're saying, those elephants on the left are actually starting to look really threatening in that picture on the bottom half of your screen there. Could be enough to maybe turn the tides.
Well, he's got so much population down there. Well, he's not even a full population anymore. He's now losing the town center. And Mista, for almost the first time in this game, it looks like he's not in the score lead, but he's in the driver's position, and he's going to be able to move forward and grab this town center very, very quickly. It doesn't look like Magic is able to move anywhere else on the map here.
Yeah, this game is getting crazy, boy. I mean, we could be going to hyper late game soon. Like, wood starts to become a factor, but I'm not sure. The defenses aren't really prepped just yet. You can see the desperate walls coming in, but these talks are just going to melt these vills, and more space every minute. Every minute, it feels like Mista gets another 1 or 2% of the map under his control. And it's just been that way for the last 12 minutes of the game.
And now we're seeing Magic go for a little bit of a desperation seek to the Titans here. I'm pretty sure that Mista is going to be able to get his own Titan gate out. I mean, he's pretty low on gold. He's got a big queue of units so that he can cancel if need be. And this trade route is now going to get absolutely annihilated by a handful of Toxotes.
Yeah, he's in on the trade. There's no units here to defend. No units even coming close to defending. And that's suddenly going to put a huge burden on the food income, right? Like, Magic's been getting by with just 25 farmers. Going to be trying to take down this TC. Looks like it just barely stay up with a lot of vills repairing it, but the Hoplite's able to do the job, and I'm just not sure. I'm not sure, boy. It just Magic had it all. He had it all in his hands. It felt like.
Yeah, he had it all. He just refused to put down Migdol strongholds. In all honesty, like there was he just didn't want to have Migdol strongholds, and that means he doesn't have units that he could spam. Like he was winning fights, and then he was just not able to repop back out the units. He had the resources, floating them, not able to spend them.
Yeah, now we do see that Titan Gate coming in. It's been placed. It's starting to get built, but with no trade. 4/5 of the map now firmly belonging to Mista. The traders they're in their waddle caravan. They got somewhere to be, but they're not excited about it. Oh no. The elephants.
Yeah,
Getting some chunky damage in.
even if he finishes this Titan Gate, and Mista decides to not go for his own one, the Titan is a unit that is amazing when combined with a full population army. If it's by itself, it's going to get taken out by 40 units.
Yeah, if
You need to have an army to back it up with. Otherwise, it's just underwhelming.
Yeah, I'm trying to think back across this Game Boy and just think about what happened with Magic's position, and I kind of have to wonder if maybe the meteor just didn't, like, he kind of invested a lot in that meteor, right? He held back an attack to get a meteor that was cast in the open field and killed what, like 15 peltists, it seemed like, in the 2 production buildings. All I can think of here at this point is I'm just wondering, like, this is going to be a desperate hold, but another TC is going to go down soon. Back against the wall.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's as simple as he just didn't have enough production buildings. He had all the resources in the late, also refused to use prosperity. The third prosperity in the late game. This is something that makes ISIS really, really good here now. He finally drops an Ancestors, which he's been holding on to for a while. But this town center at home is going to be going down, and I think we're going very, very quickly to a 2-0 lead here for the Mista.
Yeah, and that's going to put him on a fast track, maybe right into the grand finals. This match was incredible. But let's see, do you think Magic has it in him at this point? Like, he's got to feel a little dejected after this game. Felt like he had the position. He had the timing. He had the tempo. He had it all,
he had everything here. This is a very, very one position here for Magic, but you know, he is a veteran. He's not going to let this game get to him, I expect. He's a player who I know has got the ability to just zone everything out and just push through and bring himself back in this series. But man, Mista back against the wall in a terrible position and just able to just hold their 4-2 town centers behind on the brink of getting gold staff, just barely inching out the victory here, in all honesty. Like, this was, I mean, it was as close would get for him to be wanting to hit that resign button.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Like, and he was able to hold that with very little. We talked a lot about the gold situation there, right? Like,
Yeah.
very multiple times it seemed like Mista should have been dead, right? Like, oh,
Yeah.
he's about to run out of gold, and then it seemed like he was out of gold. He had 5 traders for like a good minute and a half, maybe 2 minutes, and then he was just kind of realized that there was a gold right in front of him, and at that point, the whole position had kind of broken down for Magic, and he's just sort of throwing units into these very unfavorable trades. The Peltis just doing so much work against most of what Magic was making, it seemed. Hades in the late game, man. Hades just seems so good.
So good. But you have to ask the question, like, maybe instead of throwing those barracks down, the Axemen didn't really. He didn't need Axemen. He has Chariot Archers. They're going to be taking out those hoplites really easily. All he needs is a front line. And what's a front line that's amazing? Elephants. Elephants are the answer here, but
Even
just
had
not
Valley
enough
Kings
Migdols.
pretty relatively quickly, right? He didn't rush it to try and cheese it, but like he had it. And at that point, I think we were both wondering if he would do the elephant, get Book of Thoth, kind of go for it, right? Try and make it flow. But I think he never really had the food economy for that. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, he didn't. He was spending it all on the trade, right? So not able to get those. I mean, you just have to take a couple of units off the trade route, I guess. Just make 1 camel caravan instead of 3, and then you can go into it. I mean,
Yeah.
he's also making Axeman, which again, I think, like you're saying, like if your opponent has got any sort of ranged units, even the Peltast are pretty good against Axeman. But there was also the moments where Toxotes were coming through, and as good as Camel Riders are against that, they don't have any bonus damage, and it's kind of more of a soft counter.
Yeah.
I think a completely different angle would have been for Magic to just kind of go, well, let's try and just raid the economy. Let's get some map control. Let's take him off the gold. Let's like he's obviously stuck here in the base. He's forcing fights, but you know, you can get around the map, you can get walls set up, and you can get those migdols up, and you can prevent your opponent from getting gold mines, and you can finish the game very, very quickly from that position if you can get that sorted. And then you also have to look at, well, Meteor. I mean, it was a good Meteor. It cleaned up a lot of units, but is it
Yeah.
better to just throw it down maybe a little bit later when there's more units in a ball than
Or on
straight
the
away?
main, right? I feel like if it had
Or
been on the
on the
main,
main?
like, and it just
Kill off
sort of
some
like
farm?
shuts down the whole game, right? Like,
Yeah.
it would just killed all the tempo. And instead, 2 production buildings didn't really bother Mista. He had plenty, right?
Yeah.
A couple peltas, like it looked like maybe that would be enough, but most of the army was actually to the left of that, and then took a favorable trade, even though he had lost like a couple
Yeah.
units, right? It's just like when that's your position, it feels rough, right? And like you're saying, the Axeman, I do really question the Axeman, especially when you haven't gone like the minor god path to get any benefit on your Axeman
Exactly.
realistically, right?
Yeah.
It's like you don't have Horus, right? Obviously you don't have Ptah, right? So it's like, what are you really like trying to get out of the Axeman there? Like, I feel like there are better ways to deal with the hoplites, but I'm not sure. It's really hard to say. I think Magic obviously played super well in that game. I'm having a hard time deciding if it was a fumbled win or just the best defense we've ever seen. I'm not sure.
I
That
mean,
was
one thing's for
like
certain,
one of the two. It was one of the two.
it was an insane defense. One thing's for certain, it
Yeah.
was an insane defense. But Winston, we're now going into game number 3.
yeah.
We're going onto the map Alfheim. It's going to be Set versus Kronos. I have to say this is a matchup that I do not like in the slightest as Set. Kronos has got deconstruction for any sort of
It's very
migdol, so they're
awkward.
off the table. He's got some really, really strong prodromus. He's got some ideas of going even through Leto. He's got a lot of different things that can be very, very strong for him.
Also, you can just
But
kind of
this is
play
Mister's Set.
economy. Like,
Pardon?
I don't know.
He's got the economic advantage as well. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
all there. But I mean, I tell you one strategy that you were sort of hinting at for ISIS. One strategy here for Set, which I think is pretty strong, is Anubis and Anubites and Spearmen against
yeah.
this Kronos. It's very, very good on the fact that you can't make Terma anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
It's,
yeah.
those Anubites get in and they
I'm just
kill
saying.
those Terma, and
I
Terma
mean,
are the bane of my
could be cool.
existence.
It could be really cool. I mean, the Anubites are really fun to play with. They can be really cool. On Alfheim, a little bit less so unless the woodlines are really stringy. It can be awkward, man, on Alfheim.
Winston. Anubites, they aren't raiding units. These units are units that you are insane in an actual fight.
I
You
know.
can get some
They're
raids
crazy.
if you like, but they're fighting buggers. They get in, you jump onto the archers. That's a
Mhm.
ball. That's
It's a lot of
area of
damage.
effect damage. And that's
It's a
what
lot of
everything
damage.
is. Everyone's complains about area of effect damage in Myth. This unit is doing a area of effect damage. If you get 10 Anubites out, 7 Anubites out, all jumping into a ball of archers,
It's a
that's
lot.
ouch time.
It's a lot. It's a lot. You're gonna get knocked out. We'll see. I mean, I feel like it's always tricky.
It
In
is.
heroes, you can just heroize some of the termas, so
Yes,
things kind of
you
feel
can.
less.
It's always tricky.
It's always
But
tricky. Yeah,
I'm coming up with other ideas, but you know, Mystery's been showing off Wadgets for so long, right?
yeah.
Like this is
I think he's just
his bread and
comfortable.
butter
Shifting
with
stance is
Egyptian.
also just like still shifting sands. You know,
Yeah,
I
shifting
think
stance
people were
is still
like, "Oh
shifting
no,
stance.
you like since Retold, right?" It's like, "Oh no, you can't like shifting sands like enemy units. You can't do like weird cheese anymore." And then it's just like, well, actually, it's still incredibly potent. It's such a good utility. It can
Yeah.
just provide so much. Ah,
I
and you
still
can really
stand by the fact
overwhelm.
that in Legacy, shifting sands was still better to be used on your own units than enemy units. I stand by that.
You didn't just like to shifting sands them into a little cage. Uh,
No, I thought it was terrible.
it worked though, baby. It worked.
It did work. It did
It
work.
worked. Don't hate it. Yeah, no, we'll see. I mean, like, you can also just deal, like, I feel like there's that timing at early heroic as well, where Set can just, like, sort of surprise you in a lot of locations. Like, and I've had Mista do this to me, right? So he'll shifting sand stuff onto you. Then he'll cast Eclipse or Ancestors like behind you, and then like it's just you have 100 fires all of a sudden, and the game
Yeah.
goes from 0 to 100. Especially if you're thinking that you can play 2 TC, even on Alfheim. This has happened to me, and it's just like you kind of get like spread out too much, and we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Hopefully
It's
there's enough.
surgical.
Hopefully there's enough. Mana replacement kind of mixed around. Kronos can kind of spread his manners out over the course of the game with
Yeah.
good like timing, shifting stuff. I always get that. What's it called? I always forget the name.
Time
The
shift.
building
Yeah.
movement.
No,
Time
we
shift.
can
I knew
talk a
the
little
word.
bit about this because this is something that I've thought about quite a bit.
Yeah.
What is the weakness of oracles?
Oh, I see what you're saying. You give them each a
Right?
house.
Exactly. You give each of your oracles a little house,
Build a
and now
home.
suddenly the little tiny raids that are so effective to shut down your favor generation, they stop working, and now you're going to get yourself 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 oracles and be very, very happily getting favor with no significant counterplay. There's some you have to send a big amount of units to go kill the house, but you know it's a really, really strong play for Kronos.
Mhm. You give them all a house, and then your
give 'em all a
citizens are like, "Where are my houses?"
You don't need them. You build walls. You just play like a normal RTS
Well, why don't
player.
you build
Like,
a
you
little?
don't-
Why don't you build a little prison for your oracles then? Why don't you like wall them in?
That costs too many resources. You
Wait,
can just time shift
wait a
the map.
minute.
Get over there. You
Wait a
can't
minute.
send your villages all over the map. That's crazy. Just time shift.
Yeah, watch
Anyways,
this.
we're going to be getting into game number 3. We've got Set, we've got Kronos, we've got Mr. on 2 games, we've got Magic on 0. Can Magic bring this back in the top of the map, the blue color? As said, it is TheMista, his opponent today. As the red Kronos player, his name is Magic. Back against the wall, Winston. Map Alfheim. What if you're like down 2-0? What's the strategy? What's this play style you want to go for to get yourself like yourself out of the like the kind of brain fog that you're in from the previous loss?
I don't know. I feel like so Kronos is not my specialty. It's not. Obviously I don't know the name Time Shift. Right. It's not a major god that I play a ton. Right. So for me, it's like I don't know all the nuances that I'm sure Magic does that he could bring to this matchup. Like I think about it as how to play against it, and it's like a lot of times it could be pretty predictable, which is where I would get a little scared. Like it's a lot of does all the damage work enough initially, right? We'll see. I don't know. Like, I guess you just hope. I think as Magic, do you try and throw Mista off guard by doing something weird? It doesn't feel like that works against Mista. I've talked to him about this. Like, the way that Mista plays is just so good at adapting to these different situations. So it's not like you're going to be able to throw a curveball and hope your opponent just really flubs it. Because while that might work against 99% of the player base, there's like 4 or 5 players in this game where that just doesn't really work. Like Mista's just going to adapt, and you're not going to catch him by surprise, right? So it's sort of you just have to execute on like a good idea really, really well. You have to play the matchup correctly. And that's where, I mean, set against Kronos, you have a lot of map control elements going on at the start of the game. We're going to see if we can get maybe Prometheans like into a good enough location, maybe get some surprise damage for some idle time. And we'll see what the follow-up is from there. Because like you're saying, things can be really awkward with the classical army against Egypt at times. But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, I mean, there's a couple of, you say there's some weird ideas that aren't actually that weird, right? One idea here is if you know what your opponent is doing, you get some good scouting with the oracles, you see him go for a barracks or something early, you could throw a village center down in your main base, and then that's going to shut down any of that early shifting sands play. So there's a kind of like adaptation to the adaptation, so to speak. And then
fast time.
It could be an idea to boost that economy up for Magic. Obviously, when Mr. sees that with Vision, he's going to go for his own town center. But at that stage, he's already invested into a different angle, and he's going to have some issues behind it. Now, we are seeing Prometheus, we are seeing Tart. There's no surprises here. This is arguably it's not arguably, this is the best way for the play at the moment for these two civs. I have seen one Leto idea before with Kronos that can get some big amounts of damage done early.
Yeah.
But Magic's not going for that one. Mister's going to be probably fine here from the early Promethean aggression. The question is, where to next for Magic?
Yeah, and Mister's got a lot of those on gold. I'm wondering if he's thinking he can somehow get away with a TC? Because that is
There's a...
the plan? Is that the plan? Maybe some priests? Yeah, he's training another priest. You generally want a couple to deal with those early myth units because you get double as Kronos, right? And the Prometheans are here, so he's planned for this correctly. But it looks like it might just be a TC follow-up, right? He's keeping these 12 on gold.
You run these Prometheans in. As soon as the Prometheans are dead from the priests, then you shifting sands onto the town center and it's lights out. And there's already a gazelle over here spotting this. He knows it's there. He deletes it though. He bails on it. He sees all the priests and he says, "All right, we're changing plans here." Is he going for a village center? What's in the main base for Magic? This is the bait. This is the bait. But it's not that much of a bait.
Cairo Ballista? What? I guess you could heroize it and it feels good, but he's doing the kind of thing that a lot of Kronos players do now, right? Where you heroize a lot of the vills and you just get really good economy on the back of this. Like, so you kind of disrupt your opponent, you force a lot out, and he did force quite a lot out.
Well, yeah. Well, now there's no. This is still dangerous though. There's no vision, but there is going to be a deer of set coming through. He spots the two citizen heroes there. He's building a whole bunch of priests out.
He's grouping.
I think
he's
wants
to shifting. He's gonna go.
He's going.
He's going. He saw it. No, the Cardinals. He has to go now.
Oh, he's missed it. He doesn't
What
have
a play.
This is absolute nightmare situation right now for Mister because he's got no vision. He's got no ability to spot the town center. The town center is going up. He's invested into tons of priests that don't really do anything right now. He's going to go put pressure on. There's the back food source behind that town center. This is as good of a situation right now for Magic that he could possibly be in. He can't ask for a better position for Kronos against Set right now.
That's it. That's everything, right? Your opponent has invested a lot into dealing with it. And what do you have on the back of this? You have a bunch of hero citizens that you got for free, and your economy is going to feel really, really good, right? But the thing is, you still have to deal with Mista's Force here. It's going to be a little awkward. Things are going to feel uncomfortable, but I mean, the gazelles aren't going to deal that much damage here, right?
He's just giving food over to his opponent here. I mean, if he loses those in a bad spot, that's just food a little bit later for Magic to grab. But Magic, he's been a little bit greedy. Oh, that Carabalsa with hero.
With hero, it's okay.
It doesn't have more range now. It's still 20 range. It's still got 20 range. This guy does some damage. He does some deeps.
Back to the TC. But there's some healing.
The first time I think I've ever seen a Carabalsa be ridiculously effective.
Another one.
Why not build two? Why wouldn't you build two?
It's great against the priests here. The Wadget coming in as well, but it's not going to have much of an option here to fight. The priests are going to throw some stones back, but quite ineffectively against the Carabalista. And suddenly, signs of life from Magic in this tournament. Well, not in this tournament. He's played amazing this whole time. In this set. Sorry, to be very clear, he's played fantastic in this set. But signs of life in terms of winning a game in this set. He finally has things really under control here. Strong economic lead. Up to the TC earlier.
This is the thing now for Mister. He's now got himself a second town center. So he has resigned himself to try and macro out of this kind of mess that he's found himself in. And beyond that, like walls coming up all over the map, that completely shuts down this initial force of units, which which Mister's made.
No, it goes up, and there's not a lot of crush damage here in this army. So Magic gonna buy himself some time with that one gazelle. Something a single gazelle with like 6 citizens. That's funny.
And now we see an armory, and that's going to be Heroic Age. Third town center for Mister. Now, this does make some sense. When you've got map control and you're behind a town center, a way to catch up on the villager count, you just grab 3-4 town centers. And with Magic here playing hyper defensively, going for a Heroic Age, now there is a little bit of a chance for things to go awry for Magic in this game, which is just on the fact that he's going to have the economic advantage. He's going to have the tech advantage. He's probably also going to have the military advantage, but he has to use it.
And Hyperion's going to be the play, trying to go for chaos. Not going to be the most useful against this army, right? But also the satyrs, like, going to get kind of dunked by this many priests at this point. But if the priests are still in classical age, right, there's still a lot of damage to be dealt here. And the Kyberlist is going to force units back. And Mista's like, I like that wall spot. It's a good idea. He's going to wall it himself as well. Protecting that third TC.
It's Alfheim. It's wall central. This is what you want. You want to put walls everywhere. You want to restrict your opponent's movement. And when you're going for these 3 town centers, this is the most important thing. You got to delay everything here. One thing that we are seeing here, or not seeing here, is any sort of vision on that bottom town center. Mista, he's already moving in to drop a wall down on the bottom of the map. This is really, really great awareness. And you block off the corner, you block off a trade route getting made. That wall has to get broken down. It's going to be a little bit of a niggly thing in the thorn of Magic's side, but Magic's already heroic age. He's probably already got his barracks up. He's probably ready to go into mass whatever at this point, but the Wadgets have found an entrance here and Magic has to retreat back.
Yeah, I thought for a moment that Magic had like the cheekiest, best placed Oracle ever, and then we panned over it, and on the gold on the right, it's just a cow. That's just a cow. I thought that was like an Oracle. I was like, oh, he sees the gold, so much could happen, and I was like, oh no, like that's nothing. That's just a cow. I mean, he still could move it into the gold, I guess. I don't know.
That's a gazelle that might actually snipe off an Oracle there. He might have to heroize that one down the bottom.
It's gazelle.
It's one gazelle.
He's like, oh shit! Couldn't see away from it. It's got horns, man. It's angry. Bambi's on the hunt.
A little bit sad that Magic's not giving houses to his oracles, but hey, it is what it is. Hey, oracles need homes too, okay? Hashtag.
Oh man, so we have chaos as a threat here. So does that change your unit comp at all? Seeing
well,
chaos
the thing is that
Darius?
Mr. He's always going to have shifting sands, and he's already got the priests out. So the counter to chaos for Egyptian with Tar is having shifting sands. You shifting sands back, you kill up all your units from the damage that they deal, and then you just walk back and you get the damage. The big chaos coming through, and there's that shifting sands. He's out of there.
Okay. All right. That's a lot of Cantarius still. And no real answer to them. That's like a lot of Cantarius. The economy, look at that. That's 5 barracks up, just spamming Cantarius. This is going to be a lot of units on the field very soon, trying to quickly dump his economic lead into units. Especially, well, Mista still doesn't have as much economy, even though he's on 3 TCs, right? Like, you have this kind of window here. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, there is a point at which Set gets into like just gets so much more economy than the Atlantean gets, and that basically occurs once you get to Horus, once you get to the Mythic Age, and this is kind of the only real option for Mister. He's going to attempt to defend all these raids. He's got 3 towns, and this you have to get some real big raids on in order to convert here. It's definitely possible. So Magic is going to be able to get everything he wants to have happen here, and Mister just has to take it while also dealing with getting other positions on the map so he can just continue to make units, continue to keep forwarding his position and try and bide his time to get to the heroic age and get to the mythic age. Because those Cantaris at the moment, Mister's building spearmen, but they're not enough.
Yeah, especially with the Kyra Ballista and the... Whoa, we got a trap here. We're going to get a fight. Magic has no choice. He has to get out. Does Mister really want to take this? This choke point is going to be really good for the Satyrs and the Kyra Ballista. The Spearmen going to go down so quick against this many units. The flank.
Flank onto those hero Contaris is going to do a huge amount of damage, but the Satyr are more than enough here. And now the hero Contaris is going to start taking out those Wadgets on the back. Those the hero Kyra Ballista are also doing huge amounts of damage, and Mister loses his entire army. More Spearmen coming in, and Mister just says, "Let's go, game 4."
Jeez, think about how different this game would have been if that Gazelle didn't instantly die.
I almost don't want to think about it because I'm pretty sure we would have been over in about 6 minutes in that game, and we would be onto the next series. But Magic gets some magic here. He's got a little bit of life left in him, Winston. He's
Oh,
not going
yeah.
away anytime soon.
And this is still the upper bracket semifinal kind of thing, right? So
Yeah.
if Magic does end up losing here, right, he would go down to fight Recon, and then the winner of that will go on to fight whoever wins this matchup. So there's quite a lot still. But yeah, no, Magic, like you said, looking good there, has the right strategy. And you talked about it at the start. It's like, what do you want to do when things are kind of looking rough in a setup? Like, how do you want to change the tone? How do you want to really mix things up? How do you want to play? And honestly, just clean for Magic. I mean, the Kyra Ballistas kind of surprised both of us to a degree, but that when they were heroized, they seemed really untouchable.
Well, it's a weird unit, right? Like it's kind of god awful if you make too many of them. But
Yeah.
with a tiny amount, especially in the early game, they just stop so much aggression. And I absolutely love that Magic just goes, I'm going to build 3 and I'm going to heroize them. And then what are you going to do?
Exactly.
And Mr. was like, I'm not going to do anything because I can't.
Yeah, I mean, you can try to build like slingers against them, but like then you're
Slingers
really
are great.
limited.
Yeah.
They're really good, but like it
As soon as you
he
make
wasn't really in
slingers,
a
though.
position. He went for the third TC, like
Yeah.
which I think like really I think it was just a bit of a misread. Like I know like theoretically it's like, oh, 3 TC better than 2, but I don't think he really realized how good the economy there was. Maybe he knew that the game was just going to be over if he didn't go for the third TC. I think like it's a good chance that was still the best play, but it's just hard. Like there were so many heroic citizens that it's hard to see what the answer is against just full Contarius with, like you said, just a few Carballistas, a few satyrs, and it's like those spearmen were deleted. Like they were just gone, right?
Well, this is just kind of the nature of strategy in mythology, right? If you go for early units, you have to get damage done. Sorry, let me rephrase that. If you go for early units and your opponent goes for early economy, you have to get damage done. And the way that Magic was able to play around like the early shifting sands, cutting the vision, and all the other stuff that happens in that early game with Carabalista, there was just 0 damage done onto Magic. And then Mr. goes 3 town center, and I do think that arguably, that is probably the right play after everything goes up in flames with your early game strategy there. Like Magic, all he has to do is make the correct read and get in there and get that fight happening, and it's all she wrote for that game. But it's another game, and we see a pretty interesting matchup coming through here. We saw Magic yesterday on Frere on Watering Hole, but this is now Mr. on Frere, and it's Magic on Thor. And to be completely honest here, I think this is the matchup which Magic wants. He's got Gaia remaining in his pool. He's got Odin. Mister's got Odin. I think Frere is an incredibly tough matchup for Gaia. Sorry, that's completely wrong. I am misspeaking. He's got this the opposite way around. He wanted Gaia for Frere and Thor for Odin. Right? Because Gaia's economy is just so gigantic that she's going to be able to overwhelm the economy of Frere. But now it's Thor versus Frere, and things... I mean, it's a difficult matchup, but it's a good map for Frere, so I'm not 100% sure exactly which way this one goes. Winston, if you played this one, I know you're like the Norse specialist, so to speak.
I wouldn't say that. Oh man, Mr. I know Mr. is the Freyr specialist. I feel like ever since Freyr came out, Mr. was just like, oh, that's cool. And immediately he was like in tune with the Civ. He knew how to make it work. He had more ways to play it than people realized at the time, and now people are starting to catch on just to how flexible Freyr actually is. Like it is not as locked in to one style of play. But I mean, Thor, right? Like was really dominant, a couple weeks ago, but with some of the adjustments, there's some question marks around how good is Thor's economy. Is it still hyper S tier? Yeah, it's the same. Yeah,
Thor got nerfed.
I was
and
trying to
buffed
lead
in
up
the
to that.
perfect way, Winston. This was like you're leading up to it, and I'm gonna take it home.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, yeah.
buffed and
Take it away.
nerfed in the
Take it away.
perfect way. You take away a little bit of the oppressiveness from the early game, and you just give it back to him when he needs it. And now he's not this god that you just kind of play and you just overrun your opponent with a stat check. He's a god that you have to play really, really well to get wins with, and take full advantage out of his kit. And I absolutely love what the patch team did with Thor in this one, and I'm sure that Magic is going to be able to show off exactly why that is. Just on the fact that you can have like 4 extra gold mines. What is it? You get the first Dwarven gold mine, your second one, third one, fourth one's pretty out of reach at what is it, 200 favor? But yeah, you can get a lot of economy going in the late game.
Yeah, no, and I've seen a lot of the ways that like watering hole spawns as well. And
Mm.
if it spawns in a favorable way for either one of the players, I feel like it could just end up being the advantage that decides this, right? Like, because watering
Mm.
hole very often can go late, right? It's really hard to
Yeah.
push and like end a game right away, but you can get really screwed over with the gold spawns, with the TC location. Sometimes even like you can have whole sections of the map cut off with 2 full golds, and then against no golds in that little corner. And we've seen games end that way, and I really like Freyr on this map because I
Yeah.
think it's one where you really get into these tunnels, especially in these choke points. And I think both, like if you play the the Freyr path of the minor gods, right? You just have insane options. You have the Tempest Storm, and then you have Inferno, and those are both so good on this map. I think,
I
just so
totally
good.
agree.
Like they're
There's the
so
one
good.
question that I've got
It's like the
just on
main
a
focus point.
on a sheer stat related. It's relevant, but if this game goes to like, if you play deathmatch,
Okay.
do the Thor armory upgrades, those last 3, give you more value than that Freyr's gift upgrade?
I don't know. That's one for you got to pull out a spreadsheet for that one.
Does not matter because we're going to be finding out, because surely this game is going to take us all the way.
Let's
Going into
see.
game number 4, TheMista up 2-1 over Magic. Can Magic make it work? Sporting in the right side of the map, the blue color, playing as Freyr. It is TheMista. And on the left side of the map, his opponent trying to fight for his chance to stay in the upper bracket here. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to say it that way, but I said it anyways. Playing his Thor, his name is Magic.
And we're gonna see. I always want to look at the spawns the moment we load
Yeah.
in on this map, and I'm immediately seeing that if Magic walls off this right side, there's like a forest to the right of his TC into the watering hole, right? To the right of his TC, yeah, and he's got right there. If he just walls like right there, like what can Mista do, right? He's gonna need some crazy place to get into that second gold, the third gold, a TC, 2 hunts, so comfortable. And on that south side, his map is so easily walled, like just right to the south side of his base, right? It like that. That is so wallable. Like, man, he got a god tier map, right? I would say at least.
This is wild. I mean, but do you ever really? I mean, I was kind of alluding to it a little bit pre-game, but do you ever really want to go into a boom war against Freyr? Because if you just wall that up and you just sit in your base, you grab 2 town centers, Mister's just going to say, thank you very much. I'll grab my own town center and let's go. I'm going to start getting my upgrades. They cost half price. My boom might not have as many resources as your boom because you're gathering more gold than me with those dwarves, or more resources with those dwarves, not more gold, but more resources coming through for every dwarf. I'm just going to make gatherers and dwarves and be completely fine, and I'm going to get all my upgrades half price, be able to push you in the middle of the map, maybe get a 4 town center lead, and then what are you going to do? So as good as this map spawn is, does it matter? Do you have to play somewhat aggressively here with Thor? I don't actually know. This is one of those matchups that, to be quite frank, or one of these matchups is the Norse Mirror. I struggle with. I don't know what to do. It's always hard.
Well, I think that's what this good map enables is anything, right? That like
Yes.
when you can wall it and be that secure and that safe and that clean, like you don't have to boom. You don't have to do anything. It's just everything is the option, right? And that's kind of the dream on Watering Hole. And you can see the map for Mist is definitely fine, right? Like it'll work just fine. It's a little bit harder to keep that safe. Right? Like keeping that wall there would be fine, but beyond that, like the left side is very exposed, it feels like, and it's gonna hold some valuable stuff. Like I could definitely see a raid coming onto that gold in the mid game, right? And heroic on the south there. Yeah, like something like that could be a weakness later, but we'll see how it ends up being played, right? Like Mista, does he really want to let Thor just boom? We'll see. As we get the dwarves coming in through that free armory, the free doors coming in through the armory techs.
Oh yeah, it's
Early
looking
game.
like we're seeing Magic go for the strong early opener. I think Mr. went for some early economic upgrades as well. We're seeing Ulla versus Freya as the two minor god picks. Looks like there's a pickaxe there in for the Mr. only as now the hand axe comes through. This does give Magic the early game initiative. And sure, he advances a little bit later, or is he about the same time? It's about the same time, right? But yeah, early game initiative goes to Magic just on the fact that he gets that Valkyrie out early.
Yeah.
He also gets scouting out with that one. So this is not the. I mean, I talk a lot about what Mr. likes, and when he's obviously he can play any style, but he likes being the one putting pressure onto his opponent. We saw that in game number 1. Maybe this is going to be where things sort of adjust, though. With that one wall coming down, it looks like Mister's going to be completely fine here.
Yeah, if he's able to, he just has to keep the mobility at bay, right? If he can hold right early on, he's got these defensive units. You kind of need time for that Asgardian fortress to build, right? So a lot of times you just kind of like waiting around, building a lot of stuff for the first couple minutes. And if your opponent has Valks, things can get dicey with that. But we'll see. The walls coming in on the front. Gonna feel pretty comfortable, I think. But the Valk can still run through here to the south side.
The
and loop
Valkyrie
around the PC.
is already off. He's going to have to go kind of the long way around everything, but it does kind of look like it's open down the bottom side of the map. But Mr. very smartly has all of his villages kind of angled to the right side of his base. So the Valkyrie here is going to be very much spotted as it walks in, and I find it very hard to believe that Magic's going to get any value. But he will be getting some scouting information, which is value in of itself.
Yeah, and I think that Great Hall, so some RC going to be the answer here. He's raiding cap, going to try and find an angle at least, to vie for map control, right? Because that's going to be a very important element here. As another wall comes up in the middle, so Mista is open on that left side still. He's going to discover that that's fully true now because he knows he's walled in the front, right? Going to see that Valk kind of roaming around and know. He's going to know what's up now.
Yeah, I mean, fully walled in. Saw a tiny bit of the base. Doesn't know where the gold mines are. Doesn't know where anything is on the right side. He can take some guesses based on his own side of the map with scouting. Maps aren't 100% of the time mirrored, but you can wait. If you see 3 gold mines on your side of the map, you know your opponent's got 3 gold mines on theirs. But Magic is trying to make a little bit of a movement through here, but Mr. is doing Mr. things. He almost saw that pincer just with 3 units. He loves that one. He gets one shot off before Magic is going to be retreating out of there.
Yeah, but you don't feel too bad about this, right? You see 3 hearse here chasing you, and look at the side. Look at what his 3 hearse are doing, right? So he knows that this is the case. The TC is going to get spotted by that house. The Valk is getting quick walled a bit.
Oh god, this is. I mean, Magic is just trying to get information here. He's looking for. I mean, I don't think you have a forest fire early here. It doesn't do anything. Magic knows it doesn't do anything. He's a smart player, right?
Everyone wants it to do a lot, and then it just kind of tickles a couple vills, and then they walk away, and it's fine.
It's like one game in every 100, you get like 15 villager kills, right?
This could be it, though. Just roll the dice. Roll the dice, baby.
I'm a gambling man.
Says Magic as he throws away the game. No. Thankfully, neither player is, and we're going to be seeing smart decisions, right?
Yeah,
we'll leave
you have to also look at this from the perspective of what Mister's done, which is he's walled in his base, but there's a big forest there that he can just if Magic catches him out and just goes for a whole bunch of raiding cavalry, and Mister doesn't have anything out for whatever reason. Obviously, the scouting's really bad, so maybe Magic can make that happen. He can just forest fire that forward thing, and then so all of a sudden that wall that's set up there isn't all that good. But raiding cavalry now coming into the main base of the Mister, not going to be able to get a villager kill, but going to be causing a little bit of idle time.
Yeah, and now just gonna run even further. Wait, oh, hold on. We're coming back. We're coming back. Nope. Just a lot of damage. The Valkyrie also going low here. Been a a thorn in the side of Mista, and he's finally gonna stab it down. The Herdman getting this. Oh, wait.
Oh, oh,
Oh,
can
never
he
mind.
get this out?
Never mind.
Can he get it out? I
Never
mean, you
mind.
can heal it all the way
Bills
back
are
up
gonna
to full
stab.
HP,
The
right?
Bills are gonna stab, and down.
Shanks.
Down she. Down she goes. Magic keeping us on our toes here. Yeah, that Valkyrie very low HP, but did get a lot of vision, kept the units busy. So it always feels good because Freyr needs loads of buildings. Just it feels like the biggest issue you have in the early game is just I need so many units to build things with, and idling all those Herdmen, idling all the Hersiers for that long means that now Magic has a bit of map control in the center. Although is it gonna hold?
And speaking of buildings and things that I absolutely love that Mister's done in this game, he's thrown down 2 armories. And this might not seem like a big deal, but what it does is you pay a little bit extra to cancel the negative effect of your God's unique ability. And he's going to get both of those armory upgrades through. When he hits Heroic Age is when it's the most valuable in terms of timings, because you're going to be able to just buy both those upgrades and be in a really, really good spot. But Magic
God
at this
power
point,
here?
he's got map control. Mister has to sit in his base. He doesn't have any. He's only been building infantry units here, so he doesn't have that mobility to get out on the map and kind of make anything happen. Skadi versus A-Gear here. Interesting decision, in all honesty, from Magic. Is there a world where the Frost Giants are a good enough counter to those rock giants? I haven't seen it before. What do you think?
They work, but which God power do you think is colder? Frost? Or Tempest?
Well, I mean, one freezes everything, and the other one only freezes a couple things. So,
But is that your definition of cold? How do you know that the Tempested units aren't even chillier?
I mean, they're feeling colder. They're not, right? Like if you're frozen, you don't feel anything.
Oh, we get the forest fire coming through. Now hot. We're feeling hot now. Gone are the conversations of cold. We got the fire coming in, and not a lot. It's kind of flashy just to break through here. Loses the opportunity to break through in the middle though, so I'm not sure how much I love that. Right? It's like the RC are here. They're certainly here. Right? They're denying the Rhino.
Honestly, I think this is just causing pressure because this is some like this is a concept that goes back to the dawn of RTS games, the dawn of time, so to speak, which is attack your opponent and expand. And you don't have to like actually kill your opponent or take a massive fight, but light raid here, take a town center, gives you the time to make it happen. Mister, he's not going for a 3rd town center at the moment. Magic's going to have it, and he's going to be able to have it before Mister does, which means he can then move over and prevent Mister from getting his own 3rd town center.
Yeah, and we've seen this a million times on this map. If you have the 3rd TC, it's very easy to be the one to grab the 4th TC. It's very hard to have like split TC contested early on in the game. Right, you get that split situation in Mythic once players can really entrench and you get more to those like constant fights. But like the odds of Mista being able to get map control back right now and fight for that TC seem very low given just how much infrastructure Magic has in the middle of the map. And that's access to gold, that's access to food, that's access to just having a better late game in general, right? That's access to everything. That's access to, once again, the world. Magic has the world in his hands. He's got it all. I'm just getting nervous for him. You know what I mean? You feel that? You feel that?
Yeah.
That pit in your stomach kind of open up as you just think, okay, can he do it here? Up against the menace, the beast.
The thing is, right, like there is a negative side effect of dropping that 4th town center, I should say, which is that gives your opponent an opportunity to hit you with the timing. The smart play is to just sit on it, prevent it from getting grabbed, and go Mythic Age yourself, right? And at the moment, Mister is just he's doing the kind of distraction play to try and grab his own town center, it kind of looks like, but he's just trying to push an inch out of his base. Whereas Magic, he's got a lot of idle villages. He's got to get those sorted out.
Yeah, just sort of dealing with the raids. There's a lot going on, but he's actually going to be able to grab that TC, which I think we're going to hit a very volatile moment here because On the side of Mista, all of his heroic techs are finishing here. There's just heavy infantry left, realistically, right? At which point he'll have everything. We saw a lot of the armory come in, a lot of the eco comes in. I mean, Magic not quite there yet with some of them, but still feeling good about his economy. We're gonna have a fight here. Mista thought he would back up, but he didn't.
Does he get the? He doesn't get the golem. He doesn't get the giant.
Go for the golem, and meanwhile the Frost Giant's gonna get taunted into the units. It's gonna go down so fast for the hearse here, so the Myth unit battle is won. The RC on the front going to chase back the units of Magic, but Magic coming in with his reinforcements. They were ending the raid before, and now they're here. Mista just gonna try and quickly build the TC. Down comes the Tempest, down comes the Frost. We're gonna see who gets colder faster. Looks like Mista, but back Magic has to go as well. The TC gonna get delayed here. Everything kind of coming to a big moment here. Boy, who comes out ahead here?
Honestly, I'm kind of feeling like Magic could have just almost sat in that Tempest and just taken out the town center there. But he's decided to retreat back. Now there's still going to be 25 seconds left of Frost. It's definitely worth it to just send those thrown axemen to take out the town center, make sure that that gets prevented from going up here. Now he just got the population lead ever so slightly at the moment. Now he's really got the population lead. Magic now deciding, okay, time to take the town center out. Let's make sure that goes down. And now we see Gloom bursting past. The Frost is about to be over here.
Kraken just here. The Frost is over. The units are fighting now. We have the Rock Giant getting the big shot on all the throwing axemen. Meanwhile, all the throwing axemen go down to the throwing axemen and Mista. Everything is dying. The game crumbling in front of Magic. He didn't have heavy infantry. He didn't respect the Rock Giant. Maybe he lost where it was because it was frosted and invisible and all the particle effects, but something just happened there. The army just gets eviscerated for Magic. In comes Mista, the Golem Bursty, slowly walking forward, but boy, what just happened?
Well, I mean, it just seems to me like that Rock Giant just kind of carried. I don't know if Magic wasn't focus firing the throwing axemen or something, but it just seems like no DPS was coming out of his army, and he still does not have. Wait, now he does. He's got himself that heavy infantry, and that wasn't him for the previous fight. Golem Bursty, he has run his dash, and he is out now. Got a lot of those Goaty in. The Goaty beat throwing axemen. I think they might do. Or at least they tank against the throwing action in a big way.
How many Draugr there are. Like, he needs these Goaty. The Draugr could really start to do a lot of AoE damage here, but there's a lot of Goaty. The throwing axemen starting to go down. There's not great answers to the Frost Giants now. The army's just get traded down to very little here.
This is a very, very close fight nonetheless. Both players are really struggling for production here. They both need more buildings out. This is something I constantly see with Norse, because you have to fight for the entirety of the game. It's almost like you've got to get the buildings up as you're going. And we are seeing Magic doing that, which I absolutely love. Mista has to pull back now. He still doesn't have that third town center. Villager lead is significantly in the favor of Magic. How are the armory upgrades looking, though, is the big question. We've got basically fully upgraded heroic age units here for Mista. Magic, on the other hand, has he got the same? He basically does as well. So there's no advantage tech-wise here. All of this economy in the hands of Magic is just going to be going into military, and we're seeing a Mythic Age coming through. It's going to be tier. I love this idea. He's going to be able to click that Fimbulwinter, get even more of an economic lead, and that should help him carry through to get himself all of those upgrades coming to the Mythic Age.
He just needs to rush down this TC. He just needs the pop space. He hasn't had the moment, like you said, to just build what he needs to build. Finally, though, he's going to be able to rush it down. This Fimbulwinter is going to be a painful moment. The dwarves on the run as well, so kind of a lot going on here. A lot of text coming in for Magic. He's going up to Mythic, like you said, with that Fimbulwinter, with Tier. The Goaty are pushing forward, and now there aren't very many heroes on the side of Mista, so these three Frost Giants might have a good opening here, but no, not enough front line. Gonna have to retreat.
I don't know. Do you wait here? You've got full population.
Oh, Prayer's Gift.
Like, you've got the population lead as well, as there's no fortified town centers. Magic is getting like these light raids in. I think the perfect answer. He's also raiding back onto the Mista. That's huge.
Not a light raid. That's a big raid.
That's a big raid.
We talked about this in Heroic Age, this gold on the south being exposed. Mista never got walls up on the side. He had to convert some of his berserks as well, or some of his vills into berserks, I think is what happened here. And we might have another fight in the middle of the map as well. Both players paying attention to both sides. There's now 4 upgraded Frost Giants in the front. The Draugr special comes across the front. The RC clashing on the south side. Throwing Axemen trying to find their damage, but it looks like the army this time is going to be melting in the other way potentially. Mista, does he have enough units in the front?
I don't think he does. He's just got absolutely eviscerated in this fight. And this is also, we were talking about tier coming through. Now there's not going to be any units. And Fimbulwinter's going to come in, which means that there's not going to be any economy to back up and produce anything. You can see the queue right now for Mista. He's only got 3 great hauls. Fimbulwinter coming down. Mista is going to have to tap out here. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a game number 5.
Do we have the chance here? Can Magic do it? Can he post? Can he do it? I don't know. Does he have the magic in him? Does he have the hot hands? Is he feeling like he's got it in the bag? I don't know. Could Mista lose his first set in competitive AOM?
This is what this is the second time Mista's been brought to game 5 now in this tournament. You can see that the level of Age of Mythology player has grown here in a significant way. Magic piloting Thor in an impeccable fashion. I think he also had a trade route started as well. That's how far in front his economy actually was. And did he? He had 111 villages. It's what it said. 111. No trade route. Apparently the post game is lying to me. Nonetheless, we're going to bring KP in here to say good day to us. What's going on, my friend?
I love how Vodka's just like, no, I'm going to make Boyd wrong. Let me just go back and check that for you. We get
I was reading the post game. I thought you can't get more than 100 villages. How do you get more without trade?
It seems a bit sus to me. I mean, a good friend of mine in esports always said stats don't lie, but apparently they must have there. But what doesn't lie is the fact that we are here again. 5-game series with Mista. Is it finally going to happen? Before we even get to that 5th, we really have to dissect this series because there are a lot of crazy things going on. I mean, Winston, looking at the early phase of this series, it almost felt like we know Magic loves that late game. We know he's comfortable in the late game, right? We talk about him as deathmatch play all the time. It's kind of felt like Mista's been trying to give him access to that to almost exploit it, if that makes sense, right? Like Mista's very good with his timings. And at least from what I was seeing in like the Poseidon Zeus, the Hades Isis, each time it was almost like he was getting Magic to the verge of being where he needed to be and then pushing him over the line.
Yeah, there were a couple moments there for sure, but maybe playing with fire, right? Like the late game for Magic has seemed really solid. And if you really think about it, we could be looking at a 3-1 right now. But that Tundra game, things just didn't line up. Or sorry, the Blue Lagoon game, right? Things just did not line up, right? Like everything feels a little awkward. Like, man, it just feels. I don't know. like I'm just wondering if he had built more Migdals on Tundra,
right?
Could we be looking at a 3-1? That's all I'm thinking of right now. Like if he was in a winning position for like more than half the game on Tundra, I'm still thinking about that because he's got to be thinking about it too. That was like the big question mark of this series because every other game, I haven't really seen many flaws. Right, like game 1, it just seemed like it just didn't work out. Everything else, though, has been so in favor of Magic for so much. I don't know.
Did it feel like he dropped the ball in that game? Do you think, Boy? Was it more Magic missing his timing versus Mista just being the god we know him to be?
Well, I mean, what more can be said about the Mista that has already been said? You know, this guy is a beast defensively, offensively, and everything else. But I mean, if you look at it from an analytical standpoint, Magic had the resources in that game. Magic had the town centers in that game. Magic did not make the moves to close that game out like you could possibly do. So never to take anything away because obviously you have to be insanely talented to hold that position. I know I've been in it many times and I'm going to lose 99, 100 times out of 100 there. But yeah, Mr. Absolute Beast. Analytically, Magic could have made something happen, but I mean, we'll never know. We've got a game 5 though.
We do.
KG.
And as we build up to this, you just have to think the reason we go back to that game too is the mental fortitude it takes to reset after that, right? We have a lot of
Yes.
upcomers trying to come in. It shows, I think, the veterancy of Magic, right? Because you actually have to be in those type of situations. Any aspiring players probably had this early on in your career where you feel like you should have won a game and you have to find a way of morale reset, right? Refresh, focus on the next game. And I think that is what we can actually praise from Magic. In fact, you could maybe argue a slip up came in game number 3 from Mister, right, Winston? Like, I know you were big on that shifting sands. It just seemed to never be coming. I think twice it looked like it was going to be happening. Then we get into game 4 where I like to use this term of like unforced errors versus forced errors, right? And I think what we saw there, despite it was the incredible win in the end for Magic, you guys highlighted it in the Frost. All that army right next to the Stone Giant, just a small oversight. It shows you how closely matched these two are, that such small things could easily make the difference in this entire set.
No, exactly, right? Like that little oversight, I think gave Mista a chance again, right? Like when the armies got frosted and Tempest came down and didn't do very much, it was like, okay, like hold on, like Magic is a bigger army, has a better force, he has the right positioning. He was just lacking heavy infantry, and then he got taunted on all of his axemen, and then all the axemen of Mista hit all of the axemen of Magic, and the army just got melted. And his position was so good that it didn't end up mattering. He still won pretty convincingly, like just a few minutes after that, right? So it's definitely a position here where like Magic just seems like he's the better player. And yeah, you gotta hope for his case, right? Like Mista has been so untouchable in these tournaments. And Magic, I know he's been mentioning it publicly. He's been feeling like he's letting down people, letting down the fans because this is such a legendary matchup between these two. And in the previous tournaments, he just hasn't been performing. But I mean, I gotta say, you gotta hand it to him. This whole tournament, he's been playing amazing. He's been playing great. It's incredible. It's incredible.
I think the difference we've seen, boy, since that game 2, the end of that game 2, is Magic's killer instinct is there now, right? It feels like the start of the series is him chilling for his late game, where you'd think he just want to be comfortable, and then you realize that doesn't really work against Mister. He's gonna find some sort of weakness to exploit. So I think especially when you think game 3 is a perfect example, set the pressure very early on. Game 4, and now we look forward to game 5, where not only does Magic have one of the most potent and controversial picks available as his final pick, it's one that has proven it can do more than just turtle in his base.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Gaia is a polarizing god, right? It's an economic powerhouse. It seems to be you either love this god or you hate this god. Odin, on the other hand, this is a god that I do think that Gaia is going to have to be a little nervous going up against. Gaia, good against Greek, good against Egyptian, pretty decent in the Atlantean mirror as well, from what we've seen in this tournament. Norse, they've got this unit called the Berserk, and that changes a lot of the dynamics in the matchup. But if anybody knows how to play around it, it's going to be Magic. This is going to be a tough one for both players to find. Neither player wants to lose this matchup. These guys have got a history. From what I've seen on Liquipedia, it kind of says they're about 50-50 in their win-loss ratio, and they don't want to give anyone any advantages moving forward.
It's also scary to think about, Winston, because like both players' play styles against Recon that lower bracket, right? I don't want to say either one's going to have an easier time. We saw Mist got taken to 5 games by Recon. We know that Magic and Recon are both people that will, if they can, lean for that late game, right? And that you always hear it said is that no matter how much practice you get in, the later the game goes, the more unpredictable and difficult to call it can become.
Yeah, especially when the players are playing on this caliber, right? Like there's no way around it. Like they're playing so well right now. They're playing these gods to the utmost maximum that they really can be played. And that's where it just comes down to, like you said, these little moments, these little decisions. And I can't wait to see what we're gonna see in Gaia versus Odin. Like this is another this matchup could be fireworks real quick. We could have a very aggressive and fast game here.
I'm curious because I don't think we've had it so far. We've always had the central oasis. We haven't had like the different pockets, right? Apparently that can still occur, but the percentage must be low. I think we're going to reveal in a few seconds whether it has happened here because we are going to a 5th game. These two, as close as it could come, Mister versus Magic. It comes down to a barn burner best of 1 to see who is going to be plopped in that grand finals, waiting for their challenger. Let's get to it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Game 5, spawning in the top of the map in the red color, playing as Gaia. Can he complete the reverse sweep? His name is Magic. His opponent today in the blue color, not having dropped a series since the launch of Age of Mythology Retold. He is on game point in both ways, winning and losing. He's playing as Odin. His name is TheMista. The map is Oasis, and we get the 4 spawn, Winston. What does this mean?
It just means there's a lot more space for opportunity, like for mobility to matter. There's a lot more opportunity for crazy stuff to go down. There's rotations. You have to play really awkward. These 4s feel like safe. They feel safe to chop wood on, but they're really not a lot of the time. They're kind of, you kind of get baited by them. Oh man, I'm really excited to see this. Magic with a nice spawn kind of up there in the north corner. He could maybe wall off pretty easily. The golds are going to be forward for him, but same thing for Mista. Oh man, we got a game. We got a game 5.
Yeah, we have a game, and I am watching this so eagerly. Every time I see Mr. play a matchup that like I struggle with, or I see other people struggle with, or I just see as like, what do you do? I don't really know. I feel like I learned something, and this is one of those matchups. We were talking pre-game about how Norse is kind of a decent pick into Gaia, but in reality, the gods that are decent against Gaia, they are the gods that have access to Forseti. They're the gods that have access to Bragi, because those things boost up the Berserk. They get the Herdman upgrade to deal with Contarius and all of that other really, really good stuff. Odin, well, we have Njord, you have Skadi, and you don't have Forseti. So you don't have any of that boosted infantry. I don't know if that changes anything though, because you still got access to the unique tech with Odin, Hamask, which does boost those berserks up as well as in the Mythic Age. If you can, when you get there, if you can get there, you get that berserk gang tech, and that is going to make a real big difference there. I mean, in the end, we see the monkeys, S tier relic.
S tier relic. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, it's one of the best relics, man. I'm on this boat. I am on the monkey train.
We've seen it. We've seen it be so impactful so far in the tournament already, right? Recon against Mista was a big deal, right?
You missed it though. Magic could have gotten the monkeys. That could have been GG. That's a GG moment right there.
I mean, it's such a big help for the early game, right? Like you have like all your timings worked out for what your opponent can have and can't have, and then all of a sudden there's monkeys there. But
there's just monkeys. There's just monkeys.
Winston, I'm sorry to bring us away from the monkeys.
Wait.
Well, we've got Heimdall coming in for the mid-stuff.
So Heimdall has a lot of options. You can go really aggressive. Or what I love with Heimdall, what I absolutely love about Heimdall, is you can feign aggression into Rixtula and just boom. And it can be a really good way against Gaia. You have options later. You can save the Undermine for just later. But players tend to panic when they see, like especially veteran players, they just know what Heimdall meant. It was a Heimdall rush. You were just attacking. It was an all-out aggro play. But now with the introduction of Rixtula on Retold, there's just so many options here. It's such a big mind game, and we'll see what Magic's able to do. Magic is not going to be too surprised. He'll be scouting. He'll be aware. He'll know what's coming at this point. He knows what the options are. But will he plan correctly? Or are we just going to see a Heimdall rush, right? Like,
it's not the
classic punch to the face.
It's not just Rixtula. It's also Safeguard, which makes your town centers even cheaper, and it allows you the option of actually going into quite a few village centers. So you don't even have to grab a town center. You can put the village center. You can go for proxy village centers. You can do whatever you want here and make your opponent have to kind of deal with that. Obviously, we're seeing a Longhouse to kick the game off at the start here, but I mean, where's the next decision? Like, is Mr. just going to go aggressive here? Is he going to go for a boom? He is making Magic need to guess here, or at the very least scout out. The big thing that Magic does have is the Caladriel.
Yeah, and one of the oracles is going to get spotted here. Taking a little bit of damage. It's going to be an important thing to keep track of, is how much favor income does Magic actually have. And with 3 oracles still on the field, he's still doing well. A lot of times as Norse, you really want to hunt them down. You have the Ravens as Odin to actually hunt the Oracles with, and it can be really good once you have a couple RC out to just actually actively hunt if your opponent is turtling, and just cut them out of vision, cut them off of favor, and the game can really change. But a big investment in military early. We're going to see RCTA, which is a very common composition here. A couple Berserks as well as a frontline unit. You were talking about Berserks earlier, Boyd. Oh my gosh, this game is getting crazy. Heating up.
I'm.
Terma
I mean, we have to also talk about Magic's gone through Oceanus. So this is the Caladria spam. This is those Murmillo being really, really strong with Bite of the Shark, and he's also the Carnivora to help out in the fight. So Mista effectively has to build Herso, which don't really do very well against those Murmillo, and he has to build those Throw and Axemen, which can be very, very difficult to use against the Carnivora. So there is an angle here for Magic to go down to really deal with everything that Mista's going into. The question is, micro, when do you take the fight? Decision making, gold mine placement. Do you take a fight on the Lush or not? There's so many questions to need to answer moving forward. But I'll tell you, I'm excited about it. Heimdall is this god that it's every time you see it in tournament, it's just like fireworks are coming.
Yeah, but I mean, Mista keeps running into Vil problems. He's not able to produce right now. He's queuing up units before he queues that Vil. You notice that? We're nearing 30 seconds TC idle.
Yeah.
With that Vil, I guess now he's noticed in training Centaurs, but that was kind of rough for a moment there. But we'll see. You can see that eco lead. I mean, you expect Gaia to have an eco lead, but that's an unforced error right there, and that could come into play later. But we'll see. We'll see. The eco upgrades coming in for Gaia, which, every second that this game goes on, it's going to pay off more and more. Hamas, like you said, coming in. There's a bit of a raid coming in on the left side. The TC is being watched by the Ravens. The Terma and the Murmillo coming forward, though. See if any damage can be dealt. Undermine is an option to quickly get down one of these outposts, and you can surprise the citizens with it, but we're just going to see a drop there. Interesting.
This is a pretty aggressive Carnivore. He's going to be able to take down this temple even more fast as the Terma going after those villagers on the berries over here. Half of the units not in position for the Mista, but the Mista is now going to be coming in onto the back position. The problem is he doesn't have the speed in his army. Magic can just run away.
To where?
Well, I mean, he doesn't want to. He wants the relic. What relic is it?
It's going to toot the horn, and
what are you doing, Magic Rod?
Going to go down.
Okay,
so the temple goes down for all of that.
Yeah.
But not much else. I think a Gatherer also died, further cementing the lead here. The Terma going to spot the economy in the middle. Well, getting chased away now. Medium Terma just came in. We also have some Kyra Ballistas. Once again, Magic's new favorite unit after winning a game so convincingly with them. These Murmillo's going to get hunted down, though.
Surprised there's no Caladria here. Like, you could just heal these bad boys up and be completely fine. I'm not sure where those guys are, but now Magic is kind of stuck in his base, and Heimdall means there's no towers. She's not going to ever be able to upgrade those watchtowers, because as soon as he does, Mister's just going to click Undermine, and that's going to be 2 dead watchtowers, and you just wasted the resources there.
We could be looking at an attempt just to gold starve, right? Mista's on both the second and third gold. It's 9 minutes into the game. That first gold could run out pretty soon. Not too soon.
Do you actually think you can get the gold starve here, though? That's the big question. Like, there's a world. Yeah, I mean,
you have to die.
You've also got that Gaia Forest to kind of set up on the second gold mine. Plus, you've got the Gaia Lush there to give you a HP regen while you're fighting. All of this stuff is going into the favor of holding on that second gold mine.
Yeah, but Mista, you can see him slowly taking the map control.
The
wall in the center the wall in the center is so critical, though. This is such an important maneuver. It's going to mean that he can be where he wants, whereas his opponent can't. You know what's actually interesting is that Rixtula tech also applies to the age up.
Yep.
So he's going to get Rixtula and then age up really quickly.
Yeah, it's a perfect time to get. It's a perfect time to get.
He right-clicked it.
Did he pre-queued it?
He pre-queued. F's in chat. F's in chat. Missed a rare mistake here. Well, not really a mistake. I don't know.
It's
This
not-
actually might end up being faster to the Age.
I don't think it is.
How much time is left?
I think the
It
whole
feels
idea
like
is you've
a
got
minute,
20
right?
seconds. 20 seconds on the Rigstall. You save some time. You get the villagers coming. Maybe I'm wrong.
How many seconds are
remember
left on Rigstula?
Hot
It's a long
Soup was
time.
telling me that you get Rigstall and then you age up because it makes it equal.
Yeah, but there's still
and then you
20
have
seconds
Rigstula.
left. Never mind. Whatever. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't
House
matter.
is going to go down. He's going to age up roughly the same time. Either way, details aside, Boyd and I are both kind of nerds here, so we would nerd out about that and try and figure out. But we're talking about the grand
do it
finals
afterwards.
day, so we need to focus.
Apparently, I'm
Oh,
right. Okay. Well, we've got
You said-
speaking of which, Magic is already in the heroic age, Winston. So it's like
No.
we've got heavy cavalry coming through. We've got Poseidon's Secret coming through. We've got Contarius Switch coming in. Mr.
That's
kind of
good.
needs to start making some herdmen out because I don't know. Berserks are infantry units, but I don't know if they're going to be
Raid.
enough.
This raid onto the wood, it looks like Miss is already kind of evacuated. It's like he spotted this coming, but we're gonna get the Spiritus Tree coming in again. I don't know why I got so excited. I just got excited.
I'm just excited in general, Winston. We
just
got
excited.
the raid coming. He's not going to be able to get any damage here, but he
Oh,
sees
the
the
Berserks
units,
with the
and he-
surround.
This is really good here from Magic in a sense. He doesn't get any details here, but he sees the army back. So now Magic can go, all right, I'll go for a
Forward.
second town center, or I push out and I take some more position. Any sort of decision here for Magic is going to be a good one, but he has to make something happen right now because Mr. is going for his own second town center right now.
Yeah, Magic is looking killer right now. The second TC is coming in, but it's kind of coming in an awkward time. He's building this TC as Magic hits a timing, right? The Dryad timing is insane. You can very quickly build into this, and he's just gonna have a lot of free stuff here. A lot of just damaging things, right?
Yeah.
This is gonna be tricky.
And all of his houses getting taken down. This does so much more damage to a Norse player than you would actually think, because now he's got to take
Yeah.
units out of the fight to be rebuilding houses. He's not able to reduce any units. Look at his queue. He's got 6 Berserks queued up, 2 Herso that could be out on the
Dead.
field. They aren't out. They're not going to be able to be built. And Magic is inching towards this gold mine.
Like,
There will be a frost
you're gonna have
available though.
frost. Yeah, frost on the back line. Interesting choice. I thought you'd frost the front line, but instead he's gonna just trap the units in. Maybe
I think he
he's
wanted
losing the
everything. He
fight in
doesn't
his base though.
Mister is crumbling on this one right now as the Contarius. They can more than happily just retreat back, but more units are coming in. There's a Stymphalian bird flying overhead. No Goaty available. This means the Myth units are going to get taken out very, very quickly as well. Magic is microing beautifully in this fight to boot. He's got the Carabalish on the back there to get some more damage done, and Mister has to fight down a huge amount of population here.
Carnivore as well. I think Magic's got just enough here. 12 seconds left on the frost. He still has a much larger army, but is it holding? His units are going down. I don't know. I think Magic's got this, man. He's got the pop. He's got everything. Frost is over.
He comes out of the frost, and now he's got even more population to play with. Arcus coming in. He's going to get some Arcus heroes. He doesn't even need those because the Stymphalian bird is going to be able to take out all the Myth units nonetheless. The gold mine's going to go down, and Mister, how is he going to be able to defend that recently constructed town city? He's not going to, and Magic takes the game 5 and is going to be moving on to the grand final. Winston, what was that?
This was history. This was history at AOM. This was Mista's first set loss. He's been untouchable, the unbeatable. It's almost been mythical how good he has been. And now Magic takes the throne. He's going to be going into the grand finals directly. But Mista is not down and out yet. He already beat Recon once. And now he has to do it again in order to fight Magic again. So Mista's just going to get bounced around here. But now to Recon. Can Recon do it? Oh my God. What did we just watch, boy?
I'm kind of lost for words. Like, Mr. I thought he had something really well prepared for that Heimdall, but
Yeah.
I didn't see. He didn't use Undermine. He didn't get Safeguard. He just got Rigstula, and that was basically the only advantage he had out of that one there. Are we going to be bringing in a little killer pigeon action?
We are. I can confirm, boys. Gods don't just bleed; they also die. Mister
Well, he fell.
falling to magic. He fell, but
It's
mate, it's gonna feel
hero
like
has
a death.
fallen
No,
from the
no, Winston,
campaigns.
don't
You can
get,
just
get
run
your
over and
Mister
grab
fanboy
him.
out of it.
A
All right.
hero has fallen.
I don't undervalue this, Winston. This is huge.
Okay, I'm not
Magic.
undervaluing. I'm just saying.
What a
he died.
turnaround,
It's not out of
right?
Okay, sorry.
Can we talk about
I'll
the
let you do
turnaround
your
of
thing.
this,
Sorry,
right? Like,
sorry.
I'll let you. Let's talk about the turnaround of this, because this is
You guys
huge
just take a little
compared
bit of a breath
to the
here.
Warlord performance we saw, right? Like Magic, I think,
Mm.
will happily admit himself that was not the guy we've known, right? That's not the legacy that has been built. That was not worthy of the name. But this Magic, boy, this is the guy that we've been waiting to see turn up and Retold.
Well, I mean, we saw a little glimpse of Red Bull Magic at the start of the series, did we not?
Yeah.
That first game on Blue Lagoon, it was vintage Mister. He comes in, he asserts his dominance, and it just kind of looks like Magic was going to just get pushed over. Magic comes back in the Tundra game, right? And you know, it looked like it was all she wrote for Mister, but Mister yet again showing, I'm not going to die in this series. You're not going to kill me. But somehow Magic just switches on. He's just like, no, I don't care. I lose 2 games. It doesn't matter. I'm going to now brute force through. I got Kronos. I got Guy. I got Thought. How are you going to deal with my picks right now? And Mister just couldn't break the armor.